Okay, we are recording. So, this is a different one, right? So, this is usually where I would look at the camera and I'd say, hello, I am, as always, Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We're good up to there. The last 80 plus episodes in the last 2 years of these awesome folks. The intro usually goes at this point. We use Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition, heavily homebrewed to tell our story. But that part may possibly need to change. And that's actually, it is a big deal. And I'll tell you why. I'll be as brief as I can, but it'll take a moment because there's a lot going on in the community of people that like to create these kind of stories and have used Dungeons and Dragons as their catalyst. You know, they're get out the gate. Hey, here's a great system that enables you to be able to role play and use dice and paper to figure out the physical and mental things that are going on with characters you create in a fantasy storytelling environment. This is a great system. And we're going to have a huge team of people that are going to work together to try to make that system address as much as we can so you feel like there is no corner unturned, unlooked at, no scratch is left unitched, and give you guys the tools to have fun with these characters, writing your own stories and making the movies in your mind and all the fun stuff that comes along with this game, right? So the problem is, just recently there's been some things that have happened that have changed the dynamic, and there's no one here, although these people are very clever and brilliant in their own way, each one of them that joins me here. I'm not just saying that. But we're not lawyers. And I'm not going to pretend that I am one. Because I'm not good at bullshitting. And I'm not going to start now. There's a lot of things here that I don't know. And I want to kind of go on record with everyone and say that. It's funny, as the guy that's actually wrote a lot of this, the Tales of Ulran is something I've created. And it took a long time for me to backtrack and write something that didn't have anything in it, to the absolute best of my knowledge, that took or lent from somebody else's creation. When you look at all the things, and I've got over 60 pages of optional rules, it's a hell of a read. And I've got all kinds of content, stories, and backstories for a world map of this place that is just massive. It's intimidating, right? I'll never get to it if I live to be 120 to fill this up in all the places. But the trick is, I have not used anything that is just a Dungeons and Dragons token. For instance, Big B, Dritz Diarden, Duarden, however you pronounce that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it because I'm not a drow and I don't speak that way. Just the drow are something I don't use. The different races of all the different people that are in the stories that are written about Dungeons and Dragons and the different places that they've created, Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, all these great story-like places. I've tried to create something that's completely my own, and I've done that successfully. But the system is there, right? We're going to play this game, and Jeremy needs to roll a perception check. That's something I got out of a Dungeons and Dragons book. That's where that idea came from, right? If someone has a strength score, that's something that I first saw in the Dungeons and Dragons book. I can't not do that at this point. So I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass of every step forward that I take. How do you continue doing something that you've worked very hard and wrote and written for a long time knowing that there is a potential chance that in a moment it could be considered not good enough and or offensive, or people like it so much that they want to claim it because you have ties to this Dungeons and Dragons brand. And I can't help but be honest with you, it leaves a really shitty taste in my mouth, the whole thing. You know, very briefly, years ago when I was young, a really good friend of mine named Neil introduced me to this game. And it was fantastic. We were hanging out doing our thing, we were playing this game, and everyone grew up. You know, everyone started getting girlfriends, and everybody started hanging out, and now you could go to bars, and and everyone was driving to go out and do all these different things. And Neil had gotten and met a girl that had a kid, and all these things started happening. But I still had things to create. I had really involved myself in these stories. And there was a point where I wanted to keep creating with the things we had made together. And Neil was like, well, I really would prefer if we just kind of left that stuff alone. It was cool for what it was. And he was right. He was right. And when he said that, I told myself at that moment, I'm going to make something from scratch. And I'm not going to use anybody else's ideas and stuff. That way I can do what I need to do with it, correct? And Danny and I have actually had this conversation. You know, the world is a funny place. And the idea that if one day I'm no longer here, because things happen, right? Boulder could fall out of the sky, I could get hit by a bus full of nuns, things happen. You know what I mean? The idea that I would be able to write and create something that someone else could use after I'm gone is very flattering and very awesome to think about a story that goes on regardless of the people to help create it. That actually is something I take a lot of pride in. And sometimes when I'm doing the work on the Tales of Ulran, I'm thinking about what happens one day when Jeremy, because Jeremy's a great DM, what happens when Jeremy wants to run something in the world of Ulran? What am I going to leave him? You know, Danny has ran some things based on some characters that we've used. Bella has helped me write an awesome background for Silouan that made me develop some things in the story and the people in the city of New Gemdar that I would have never imagined. You know, and plus, you know, Corey, that is no longer part of this just because of work obligations and stuff like that. And the fact that we have 3 hour long combat, right, Corey? But, you know, he had some great ideas for Darius, which helped me create a whole different idea of this bards group. And it's all came into this thing that we have. And if you all decided to play this game, I just want you to know that you can do that. I want to say it on video right now. Take these creations, be respectful of what we've done, and move forward and have fun with this however you got to do. If something moves on and you want to take an idea from here and play another game, please do that. Okay? But my challenge now, and our challenge, is to either find a new system that's coming up that is very good that we can move on to and start using their mechanics. And the second hardest thing is to stop calling everything D&D. Not all shoes are Nike. Not all beer is Budweiser. Right, Danny? Well, you got Miller Lite there, don't you, bud?
Actually, I have a question about that because they
Please
changed the
do.
they changed the contract going forward. Like when we bought the material, we were under this contract. You, you can't put us under a new contract without our consent. You know,
I
if we don't,
suppose so, but I will. But Your Honor, I will refer back to Exhibit A when I said none of us are lawyers, and I don't know for sure because I could say, you know what, you're damn right. They're not gonna back out on those words. Well, are they?
I think it boiled down to the terminology that they used
Yeah.
rather than terminology related to it being irrevocable, unchangeable, things like that. The terminology that they used basically meant, oh, this is good forever until we decide otherwise.
Yeah.
and the terminology that they used
That
seems to be
actually in the
used
player's
so
handbook.
synonymously with irrevocable
Yeah.
that they were able to slide it.
Yeah, and you know, every legal matter they're going to have is not going to be in a player's handbook. Nate, that's the issue. There's a lot of things you have to look beyond those pages, and like I said, I don't have. I may have the ability to go in and look at those things on public record. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to pretend that I know. Forever, I've always just been under this assumption that is in the back of our minds, right? We don't think about the things that are easy to us, you know what I mean? We don't think about the fact that water runs into our house and we can just go get a shower until a line breaks, do we? You know what I mean? You don't ever think about how much NyQuil you got on hand until you get COVID and you're sitting there snotting and can't sleep and you're coughing. You know, we don't think about the bad things until they happen sometimes, right? And with this, Bella brought up a very good point just recently. When I say in our introduction, we use D&D 5th edition heavily homebrewed, and I sarcastically say it like that, it's very true. You know, the player's handbook does have a passage in it. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it's the player's handbook or the dungeon master's guide. I think it's the player's handbook. And it is one of my favorite parts about it. And it says, listen, we're trying to create, this is a summary. I'm not quoting. Okay? There you go. See, already I'm defensive about this whole thing now. And that's the change. Okay? But it summarizes that we're not trying to invent the only perfect way to do this. You know, we want you to take this. We want you to use this and enjoy this. These worlds that we've created and this story that we've done and these methods and systems that we've put into place here. And then we want you to change them to fit your game. Right? And that summarizes what this message statement says in these books. But truth, Danny, if at the end of that there would have been a comma, and that line would have said, but understand that at any time it suits us, we have the right to this, that, and the other, and so forth. That would have changed and probably wouldn't have sold very many books. You know? So when you invite people, when you invite the vampire in the door, and then you get bit, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? That fair? So, having said that, I do want to give some people some credit, because I do give a lot of folks credit in, when we just talk, we'll mention Critical Role a lot of times. And Critical Role's in a hell of a place right now, trying to get figured out. As much as Matt Mercer has, you know, I'm being very generic here when I'm talking about the Blood Hunter. And I'm talking about, you know, all the different hybrid stuff that they've created and D&D has put in their books. There's a very mutual relationship going on between those two companies, right? So, at some point though, they have really made a very awesome life off of this game. They're very talented at it, and like Danny said the other day, that cast of people could play Monopoly, and I'd watch it. You know, it just creates a whole lot of interesting things. But at the same time, they need to know moving forward that when they brand things with Dungeons and Dragons and they use system exclusive mechanics that they created that are their own thing, automatically that stuff can be taken by them. It can be used. It can be decided if it is too offensive, not offensive enough. They can do with it what they want to do with it. And I'll tell you right now, I don't believe for a second Matt is happy with any of that, because he's worked very hard. I know how he feels to create a world, man, right? With a great group of people. There's a guy called the Dungeon Coach. If you've not checked out the Dungeon Coach, man, do that. He's a younger guy, used to be a teacher. He just recently quit to do creation full time, and he would fit in with this group so well. Danny, me and Danny's always been rewriting the rules for years to fit things. The armor class primary, the armor class breach, the skill points, the extra feats, the different systems that we've put into place. We've done a lot of work, and it works really well. and I'm glad you all are showing me that, as we play. Um, but now everything he's done could just be taken and put in the next edition, and he doesn't have a say over it. That's facts.
Not only that, but they could take it, being like, "Well, we don't want you creating anymore, but we're going to take your stuff."
Yeah, he's crushed by it. Now, what's cool is that he has created his own system he's going to start putting out very soon. It would not surprise me a bit if we did not start using that system. Matt Colville. If you've never heard of Matt Colville, get a drink, use the bathroom, get some time because he's a talker, man. But boy, he's good, dude. He is meant for radio. And he is the only person that can do a podcast where I don't get bored and shut it off. He is 100 miles an hour, articulate, intelligent, and he is really into this whole creation thing. He is pushing forward his own system as well. And as I have tried to create things, I keep on thinking to myself, there's been a lot of, and I'm almost done, I promise. But there's a lot to say here, guys. There really is. Is armor class a Dungeons and Dragons exclusive thing? I know Dungeons and Dragons does not own swords, nor do they own elves, dwarves, humans for that matter. Dragons, although it's part of their title, they don't own it, or the concept or the idea of it. So it's hard to decide how far back we need to track. Do we need to redo ability checks? Do we need to figure out a new system or have someone create a new way? Think about the spells in the end of the player's handbook and how specific they are. I mean, there's no Melf's acid arrow without Melf, and that is a D&D character all day long, kids. Okay, you know what I mean? And the thing is, they have a spell in there called Fireball. How else do you describe that spell? What kind of synonym wormhole do you have to go down a rabbit hole to find out a new way to enunciate? I want to cast fire in a big round area. You mean a fireball? It's like, yeah, but I can't say that. What do we do? So
Fireball's in a lot of literature.
It is.
I get what you're saying. There's quite a few spells that have a specific name, Big Beast Grasping Hand.
Yes. Hadar's, the armor, the black tentacles there's so many. Yeah, there's a lot. So in all the different sub things of, Germany runs a character that's a paladin, right? Paladin is not a D&D term. Paladin is a word that's been used a lot. And I'll tell you what I put my main basis on for this is the fact that Pathfinder exists in the world. Pathfinder broke off, and was it 3rd edition or 3.5, guys? Where did they decide that they were going to continue and they didn't mind having a intricate system that was a little bit more complicated, and there's things they didn't want to give up in Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder split ways. Okay? But in Pathfinder, which is its own entity now, you have 6 ability scores. You have an armor class. You have skill points. You have strength, dexterity, constitution, all these things. So obviously, where that line is drawn is unknown to me, and I don't know enough about to talk about it.
Well, the other thing, across all of these systems, like there are conversion charts to make this one spells work in this one and this to that one.
Right.
So
right.
I don't know what the answer is, but
it's tough, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, D&D, the Wizards of the Coast should have taken the win with the fact that D&D is so popular now and they're actually making money instead of going under.
Yeah. Yep. Record-breaking profits for the last several years from what I understand. And this is the next step. And listen, I know at the end of the day, there are certain people that we all know that are very factual and very business-oriented and say, look, they make money doing this and they're going to try to make more. Sometimes you have to remember that. It's unfortunate. It's a sad truth. That's one thing that's nice about this. I don't get paid a dime. And it's okay.
General,
Makes
that's
it
when the
Yeah.
new management comes in, you get the bean counters, and they're just, trying to justify why they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, didn't kind of Jeremy say earlier, it's like the thing of like where they gloss over it, they say, "Oh, it's okay, okay," and then they drop it in the dead of night.
Yes.
It's like that type of thing of like you can't really trust whether or not they're gonna change their mind on it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, in ending on that, and before we begin, until I come up with a better title, I will give Dungeons and Dragons the credit that system deserves. And I will say that we do use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition as our base. It is the structure on which we have built our house. But I will tell you, through work with Danny and Jeremy and a lot of other people, and a lot of years of a lot of testing and talking to people, we do a large amount of my own personal homebrew creation that has changed a lot of those mechanics. And I look forward to the day when I can change the title officially. And I will be working towards that diligently now. And hopefully I can entrust and take trust in the other people that are working on it to maybe be allowed to use some of their things. Because if someone told me that they were going to take Silouan and they were going to give her back a wing and change her hair brown, or that sometimes the things that Bastille does in the games is offensive, or they were going to tell me that we couldn't talk about Mesoamerican beliefs and things like that, and they were going to make Kill Tusk and write him out of the stories that we've done, I would say no. I would say no in a heartbeat. You can't do that to what we've done. But in a way
I
they
mean,
can.
yeah, I mean, just kind of the way that, taking stuff and changing it, but then keeping the spirit. Like me with Silouan is a perfect example because she's not mine originally. Like, and it's that type of thing of like there's some key things that you don't change and
Yeah.
things that can shoot off and develop, but like Silouan is not a very different thing after I came and took her on.
Yeah, but and I hope you understand, this is a real good exercise. People can learn from that. When we were giving you a way to get into this game and to learn it, and offering you the character of Silouan, I think there were a couple others too that we described. And Silouan was one you're like, okay, I like that one. That's my gateway drug into the Ulran, Brian. I'm going to go there, right? So, you have done things to make that character yours that just make me smile. You have done very well in that, to the point where I don't even feel that that was my creation anymore. Sincerely, that is Bella's character. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I intended it to be, which is great for me. A lot of folks may not know that, but when when everyone first started playing this, they jumped in here with like level 8, level 9 characters that already had places in a story, and this was my introduction to the world. I wanted them to jump in and fill these positions, and everyone had 2 or 3, sometimes even 4, that they could select from to join in on this story. And just because I don't like the all of a sudden everybody meets at a tavern, everybody just gets along, let's go. This was a story. This is a living, breathing thing that had effects on other people. And everyone has done a fantastic job of making these characters their own to the point where they are yours. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that any one of you has ever wanted to change and do about your characters once you started playing them that I was like, no. And I'm glad, because that means I picked people that are intelligent, people that have good taste, and the things that you have changed and done have been fun for me to watch, right? And I hope the guys and girls at D&D feel the same way. I hope that they see all these homebrew content people and people like us and stuff, and they're like, man, look at the stuff they are doing with the keys of the Lamborghini. Like I always say that, right? Look where they drove it. Look what they did. So I'll get off my soapbox about that. I did want to go ahead and go through and explain that and kind of get off my chest. Is everybody okay if we go ahead and move forward, or is there anything else anyone wanted to throw out there before we get into it? I mean, I think I took like a good 20 minutes. I mean, is there anything left? All right. So, with all that fun stuff out of the way. Yes, what, Danny? Were you ready to say something?
So we've got a temple to fuck up.
Yeah, we do. As if we haven't enough already. So, yeah, I'm glad everyone's here so we can get into this temple and rock and roll. So, let's go ahead and bring up the map and see where we were last time as it fades in dun 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 all dramatically and whatnot, and there we are. The sponge bath is over, as we discussed, for a mixture of laughs and red eyes drinking and a bunch of other fun things. We had an interesting end of our last episode. Dude, I had a ball. That was so much fun, dude. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I know you haven't because I haven't released a video yet because life has been complicated lately. But we're going to get there. This was a blast. You guys, you have even more goods on you now than you had on you before. So please make sure to keep track of how many sets of gears you have, how much blessed water you have, all that good happy shit, because it's going to be required moving forward, as I'm sure you already know. Okay? So, with that, Brahmas has not collected the gears yet. Bastille and him were in this room, and they were in the middle of this discussion about making the spirits work for them for the outside battle. At some point, I don't know if it was the last episode or two ago, Colby's character, Killtusk, had a moment where he interacted and was able to see through the eyes and feel the emotions and stuff of his Allosaurus steed Loki that was outside, that is in the middle. What's that?
I think
Well,
you like dogs.
Right on. And we did some rolls to see, out there. Our team's like kicking ass. It was going really, really good, which made me really happy and gives us a little bit a moment to breathe in here to do what we need to do in this moment. So there's some stuff going on, but we know that they are kicking ass and taking names right now. They're making Vasilian coats, and it's getting real. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with, let's have some fun with this. I'm going to go ahead and Silouan. I'm going to start with you and just see where this leads. You know that if you go back through the water tunnel, okay, the way you can, Karsu, and you've got Killtusk back there, and you yelled out to them. Remember, initially you thought something was wrong, because Brahmas tried some kind of slick shit. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was trying to leave a signal that things were all good on the other side, and it was completely misunderstood, which had Bella just taking that one wing and just diving down on that thing. It was really funny. But Killtusk and Karsu have been kind of left on the other side, just waiting for this group to return. Okay, so in that moment, Silouan, covered in water, you hadn't quite got all the way up yet. You saw the scatterings of an Atlati soul come out the other side of Brahmas's body that had just been slain, and it died and faded away into mist right in front of you. You know that there was this stuff going on in the other room. I remember you were making jokes about them doing the whole sponge bath thing, so I think it's only fair that I move you up here. Is that correct? Because I know you were in on that pretty good as well. So let's get you up here where you can actually make jokes that make sense. Let me move some people around here so the overlapping works the way it should. Let's get you up. There you go, like this. Okay. Bastille is over here for the steps. Brahmas had just got done dipping his hand in here and doing this, and the water had changed. Okay. Silouan, I'll give you a chance to speak first. I'll give the three of you a moment to role play through this situation. Tell me what you've got, where we're headed, and I'll show you. I'll tell you what you need to know. No pressure.
What the hell was that?
I hoped that would happen.
Cleaning up Brahmas.
I,
Some
Well-
spots he couldn't reach. He's a
Oh,
big
my.
guy.
Oh my.
so I was worried about your well-being when I heard bang. It was a bang, wasn't it? This is me saying it was a bang that the
It was me
misunderstood thing.
making my voice loud, saying I'm fine.
Well, it didn't carry through. I can promise you that. I guess stone is not the best medium. Um, can I go retrieve the others then? Are you guys good? Do I need to give you more alone time and then I'll come back, or?
Oh my. Alone
I'm
time.
next. He starts like he's gonna slip his cloak off.
Oh my god. Roll
He
roll a deception check if it's deceiving. Go ahead. Have fun with it. Explore the space.
Oh my
Max Taylor.
god! Why waste that on this? That's a nat 20.
So listen, and Silouan, just so I can help kind of paint the picture, as you say this, half-heartedly joking, asking about the situation, as Brahmas is like, we were washing, he's kind of sincere about this. All of a sudden, you hear, boom, 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 and then Danny's like, getting the cloak off and doing his thing, and you're just kind of, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I think not even like a moment to even. I think the minute it begins, she's like, okay, and then turns around and begins to walk towards the pool in order to get over and check in with Karsu. Like, they've got it figured out.
Well played.
That noise. You guys have got to look up. It was a TikTok video, but it is it's the fight scene between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, but they changed the music. So like they're unbuttoning their shirt and shaking off.
Dude,
Oh
that
my
would be
God.
funny.
Music changes the mood.
That would be really funny because I've seen that fight like 20 times. That would be really funny, Danny. That's actually, I'm going to check that out. So, yeah. So, Silouan at that point is like, wow, okay. Mechanically speaking, go ahead. No, go ahead, Jeremy.
Give me a quick rundown of what you recall. I remember Bast mentioning trying to fit the gym into Promise's head. Do I remember it basically saying that gym would have had to have been cut a lot more different than what it was for it to have worked?
Yeah, because, listen, without sounding like a sarcastic asshole, what we decided was this. Just because we have potent arcane water and a random gem, what the mechanical idea was is that we were going to place said gem in the eye socket hole, splash some water on it, and it was going to possibly work. And let me tell you right now, cars don't get fixed that way. Okay, so we figured that out through D&D rolls, and it was like, that would have been nice, like miracle salve, but no, it didn't work. So that was done, and the whole idea of taking the spirits in here and having them fight force, because that was actually a very good idea, but it just doesn't translate between your knowledge of what these things are doing in here. These beings seem to be on very short tracks. The limited power that they have after their death and passing, and the limited function that they seem to have in this place, you guys just aren't confident in the idea that you could cohorts them, or they would even be able to join you in a battle outside or aid us, other than their defense of this place from people that shouldn't be here. That was also an awesome, deep conversation that you guys had last time, in between the bathing and the scrubbing. And which was weird.
Sorry, Cole
So-
sent a meme to the chat.
Okay, so everyone needs to understand, I don't check the chat because I have NASA station set up here. So whatever the fuck these fools are laughing about, I have no idea. But I'm sure it's good based on Colby right now. I'm sure it's good. Oh my god. There's a guy at the hyena laugh. Is it that good, bud? You gotta tell me what's going on.
I'm mainly laughing at Danny's reaction.
I looked up and Colby's covering his mouth and I just lost it. Like he was just waiting. As soon as I looked down, he's like, "Oh, it's coming."
I sent it to your phone, Brian.
Oh God. Okay, in a minute then. Okay, thank you for that. Back on the tracks. Back on the tracks. So what are we doing mechanically in this room to interact with it and do things, and then we're going to move forward into how you're planning to leave said room, or
Promise I
just
do-
give me an idea what you're doing so I don't have to lead. You know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna do what I do best. And
Okay.
that's lift the heavy things. I'm gonna get in there and try to maneuver the gear.
Ask for here. Um, if you're doing it by yourself, I'll just call it a basic athletics check using Brahmas, just so you don't, knock it off of something or handle it in a way where you crunch it or something. Your ability to operate Brahmas and get this from the liquid into this now just nothing but purified water. And when you roll that, let me know what your result is. By the way, are you adding that effect to your video footage on purpose, or is that just something that's happening?
No, that's something that's just happening. I thought it was on my end.
It looks like you. What is the game Minecraft? From Minecraft materials.
Turns
Wow.
out Jeremy is. I thought you said you met him. He's a bot. He's not a real person.
It's true. He's a bot.
Well, the way that it was completely wiping out all your features, it was like Slenderman, where it's like, no.
Oh my God, Slender Man. Oh, that's no. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So go ahead, Jeremy. What did Brahmas get on that?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20 will work, sir. You are able to go up to said gears and remove them from the water. And after that, go ahead and tell me how you want to carry them, how you want to hold them, and all that other good happy shit. Talk to me.
Hold them in such a way that they're good to go, and I can continue back through the waters, back around. I'm taking them
roll
straight to the statues.
for the hell of it, I guess, to see if you're able to concoct a way to carry them well. How did you do it last time? I'm just curious. Do you remember?
I could just carry them.
Okay.
They're
If
too
you
big
will,
to put in a pack or anything, I thought.
I'll say you're able to carry them under one arm, keeping one hand free. But it's going to make things complicated if something comes up, later on as far as things of that nature. So if you're just carrying them under one arm somewhere, of course, combat's going to be kind of pain. With any luck, you won't have to deal with any of that shit, right?
All right, sword will be stowed. Got it under the one arm. Nobody wants to fight Brahmas in unarmed combat. So
Point made. Okay, so let me see if I can fade these gears off. Yep, and those gears have been
Real
removed.
steel on somebody real quick.
Real steel. It's a good movie. It sums it up pretty good.
What's the rest of this room look like that we're in?
Okay, so up here, you see a statue. You guys read the thing when you came in the room, correct? Yeah, we already did that. I remember that from the last episode because it talked about the two Atlati souls that were standing here, which was an edit because you guys had made a bunch of noise and they ran out of this room into the other one. If you want me to put that back up again, I can, or else I can just explain it to you. Would you rather just do that?
Explain, yeah.
So this Atlati statue here looks like a statue of an ancient Atlati warrior. Now you know that this place was made by the Mori'tal and the Makati people. Okay, so this depiction is this is a very detailed statue. Okay, and it seems to have a spear pointing down from it. Now, on the ground are grayed out rune-like symbols. And you saw something like this earlier, although not exact, but something very similar to this kind of layout before. The torches on both sides throw shadows in both directions off of this. If you want to look at it further, it will be an investigation check from whoever chooses to do so.
I'd like to go up and read the runes since I can read all languages.
Okay, go ahead and give it a shot.
Investigation?
And which one are you trying to read?
We'll do the one on the right. Investigation would be 15.
Okay, with a 15, Do it with advantage because you were in the other room and saw something similar.
18,
I meant to
26.
say that.
26.
Okay. And not that you needed it, but it just I forgot. I need to give you the credit where credit was due. You believe after you look at that symbol, and you look at the other symbol. This is a, excuse me. This is a choice situation, much like it was in the other room, where you're able to choose whether you were to bring your vitality back, or you're able to bring back your mystic energy. There seems to be these runes are very similar to those that shone around the fire pit when the spirit of Yaota showed up around that spectral campfire that she created and healed the party's magic points up. For lack of a better term, it was magic points is what it did. This seems to have a rune put on the floor that depicts both of those. With a, and you said 26?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that, you see currently that the spear itself is pointed at one, but it is off canter to a degree. It would have to be moved in some way to line up and activate one of these said runes. As this feature, this character looks much like the one that you guys saw in that campfire room. And if I can, real quick, let me just go down there and I'll show you. Where's it at? Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So Bast looks over at Brahmas and he says, if we get wore down, we can once again rest here. Like the other statue with, if we spin this thing, it'll restore our life and our magical force, depending on which way we choose.
And Brahmas, would you like to also take and make your own look at this and Silwan as well? Or would you like to aid one another in this? Or do you guys just want to go off of Bastile's initial findings?
I don't think Silwan's there anymore. She turned around and left and was heading over back towards Karsu once they had their...
Okay, we'll do your water deal here in just a minute then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I think Brahmas might be looking at the statue, just because there's been a pretty significant deal when it came to statues in general. In this
Okay.
place. So see if there's anything special about it. If it can be rotated.
Go ahead and roll me an investigation check, please.
The 13.
Okay. With a 13,
I feel like it looks like AI is trying to recreate my.
it does. Yeah. It's D&D. They're locking in on you, Jeremy. That's what it is, bud. I don't. As you look at it, you are hopeful now because you're the one that had that discovery on the four down in the room where the water came up through the floor and the four Seraphim with the pole arms, and they're looking around the back of it, and you're trying to figure out if there's a place to put gears, and you're seeing that spear, and you're remembering the other room, but there's just nothing coming together with the 13 that is leading you in any kind of sure direction about how this thing would be operated if it were operational. With 13, it seems to be more of a solid structure. The statue itself, you don't see any places where there would be any kind of moving parts like an arm or the head turning or anything like that for 13. Anyone, Bastille, do you have anything you'd like to do at this moment?
Say we get these gears back up there, and maybe before we do, I'm going to look closely and see if I can match an illusion. Then we'll walk it back over those loose gears, and you guys can put one together quick if you've got a template.
Okay. So you're studying this thing a little bit closer to make sure when you make an illusion of it, it would be accurate? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, the gears. When we get to the other side, he's going to study them. So, like, if he lays them down, I might be able to make an illusion right over the top of them that's exactly like it.
Okay, and I'm sorry, an illusion of what exactly?
The gears, because we know there's loose gears that have enough that we could build another set.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
Illusion
Okay.
blueprint.
Okay.
That's
Okay, good call.
really good idea.
Yeah, nicely done, sir. Okay, just for that, just roll me a. What is your roll a? Huh, that's a tough one because wisdom is using things that you've learned, and intelligence is deciphering things that are like right in front of you. So, Danny, I'll let you decide what you need to roll to memorize. I mean, I'm thinking it's intelligence based.
Absolutely, because I have a much better score on that.
Well, I mean, way to bottleneck the system, but yeah. So go ahead and
But
just roll
yeah,
me.
I get what you're saying because this is the ability to learn it, to see it, to copy it.
An
Thanks for
investigation, probably.
thanks for making that a little bit more gentle on me, Danny. It's a little bit too late now, but go ahead.
24.
He said two, and I got excited there for a minute because we don't. Low rolls and Mr. McGuffey are rare. 24. You could draw this on the inside of a bathroom stall if you needed to. So gears was ears. So yeah, you could definitely do that. You have memorized what's going on. Okay. So are you guys leaving the room now, or is there anything else?
We're good.
Okay. Silouan, go ahead and roll me a dexterity check or an athletics check, whichever one you want, and then I need a constitution check based on what that roll is. What this roll is will dictate the DC of the constitution check.
So I rolled a 17,
Okay.
and adding in, you said Dex.
You can use it's not like you're dodging or anything, but your basic agility and things like that are going to be good. So Dex, yes.
So Dex is +4. So
Okay, and is dexterity one of the things that you're proficient with?
I think so.
Okay, I think as a dancer it is. So
No,
it's next
you're
to-
thinking of Sada.
Oh, I am, yeah. So as a
Skylancer.
yeah, I know. I'm just trying to remember if that's one of your proficiencies or not.
Yeah, trying to think.
I don't know. If you don't know for sure, go ahead and just
Dexterity?
huh?
You said
Dexterity, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of her proficiencies.
Okay, so that'd be an extra. Is it? You guys are like a level where it's a bonus of 4 now, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
So,
so that's
17
plus
plus 8, so 25.
It's McGuffey rolls. I like it. Get after.
Well, I mean, being that I think she was choking out the first time she swam through here, because
Okay.
I don't think she did super well.
Right, and now you don't have all the different obstacles, and the fear factor seems to be over. So, as you do that, with that high of a roll, now I just need a Constitution saving throw from you, and all you do have to get it is above a 10. To be able to hold your breath well enough to get through there with that high of a thing. And what exactly have you done?
Well, it was a 2.
All right. So, as you
2 plus 2 for Constitution, so 4.
Hey, 4, you almost got halfway there. Because that'll be a gauge of the hallway. Okay, so guys, as you've collected yourself and take your good time looking over the gears and memorizing everything and theorizing and going up and looking at the 2 things on the floor because you can read everything and all that, just as time just ticking away. As you guys decide to exit that room and look down there, you see the water. Someone has dove down through the water. You realize Silouan is already gone. Nothing alarming right off the top. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Oh, good Lord.
Maybe start walking into the water to start heading back the other direction.
Sounds like a winner. How
Think I'm
about
gonna-
you, Bast? What are you thinking about, bud?
I'm going to swim through myself.
Okay, who's going first and who's going second?
Mind if I go first? That way, if I don't make it, you can pull me out the other side.
Certainly.
Okay.
If you don't make it, there's a problem.
Bastille, as you get ready to go back down into the fairly cold water that is in this place, you go down and you roll me a perception check.
18.
What was it?
18.
As you're doing this, you go down underneath of the water, okay, which looks a little bit like this. Okay. And as you begin to move in that direction, okay, you look over to the light at the other end of this tunnel because you know there are torch lights and you can see off in the distance of this long hallway that you guys had to swim through before that there is a bit of light that you could see at the end of that, like a surface pool that you need to go up through. But there's something obstructing the way. And what you see is, at first you're not quite sure, but with a perception of that high, you see that Silouan is in some sort of trouble. Just about halfway across, you see it looks like she's lost her direction somehow, and all you can see is kind of like the darkened silhouette of her kind of battling to regain her direction. Silouan, what happened was, with a 4, what happened is you were going across there and you were using your wing to propel you and things of that nature. A piece of your helmet or your armor became dislodged from you. Okay? And as it did, because the water washing through you and things of that nature, and as it did, it threw off your weight. And as you used your wing to get a good push, it went up and it had you hitting your head off the top of this corridor. In that moment, it dazed you a bit. And now that you've come back to, you're not sure how many seconds you were out, and you're panicked because you're realizing I'm in water and I don't know what direction I'm going. And it's a scary kind of moment. Your mind is scrambling. I need you to roll me a charisma check. This is going to be for composure, to define more about how this is handled.
And I'm completely submerged, right?
Oh yeah, you're in the water. Yeah, that's the issue. You're trying to, you can't tell what direction you're going now, and you've got kind of that hit on the head. You don't know, and we're gonna say it was your helmet that kind of fell off to the side, that threw everything kind of off. So you're kind of scrambling to find your bearings here to get moving again. Go ahead and roll me that charisma check, please.
9 + 3, 12.
Okay. You're with a 12. You're kind of in that moment where you don't know how much breath you have left, and you feel a little bit of that cold seep between your lips. And just with the joking and seeing everything that was just on the other side, and then realizing something as simple as this throwing you off canter, that it's becoming more and more real to you in this moment. Danny, you can see this happening. She is at least 15 foot down into this long passageway. You see signs of struggle.
Already under.
You
and I
have
see
your
this.
vision in here too, or not?
Hmm.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, boss. What are you doing in this
With
moment?
him seeing that and already being submerged, I think he's just gonna squat low while he's still got weight on his feet against the steps, and then he's gonna propel himself forward hard at her.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me, and if propel yourself forward with this, that's going to be athletics, Danny.
It's awesome because his free running feat allows him to use, but it doesn't matter. Well, that's athletics.
No, I hope the best for you.
19. 19. But
19.
He can use acrobatics in place of athletics for his free running feat, but I don't know that it applies here because it's kind of, but I'll just use athletics.
It's all good.
But that is a 15 total.
No, it's okay. If you have that and that's something doable, that's fine. I have no issue with that.
Oh,
Now I
okay.
need you to roll me a Constitution. You need to beat a DC, and what was that again? What was it? Your roll? No, his. I'm sorry.
Oh, with acrobatics, it makes it a 19 instead of a 15. But
Okay, so your DC for Constitution with that high of a roll would be an 11.
seven.
You're getting down there, and when you go to stop and control her and you get to that point, you realize that she's struggling a little bit too much, and you find it very awkward, and you too are having that issue where it has gotten dark in the middle, and with her wing and with her armor and with her reaching around trying to find her way through here, you've kind of got tangled up in this mess that you don't feel like your lungs were equipped to take care of. If you could have just taken an extra second and went up and got a deep breath before you came, but you pushed before you looked, you know what I mean? It was this urgent moment. In that, you notice that Bastille pushed off quickly. He didn't run up and be like, Silwan's in trouble, and then go under. He just darted off Brahmas, and it seems oddly quiet to you. Go ahead, and what are you doing at this moment? Are you muted? I can't hear you, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm heading in. Just as I came, walking down the steps like there's no water.
Okay. I think at this point we're going to call you Liquid Plumber. We're trying to get you to get the clogs out. Okay? So, as you get down there, you see them up ahead engaged in some kind of struggle. Roll a perception check to know more or possibly less.
17.
Okay. Bastille went in later. It appears that there is some kind of struggle. Something has obstructed them, or they're having difficulty pushing their way through here. What is it that you're doing, sir?
Walking. Well, I can't imagine I can run because the water still water.
Right.
So moving over towards them as quickly as I can.
Okay. Go ahead and do athletics. Or, it's athletics at this point because you're trying to move underneath water and stuff like that. And just walking. It's not like you're using finesse or swimming.
It's 12.
Okay. You're able to get there, but it is not the pace that you wish you could have. I need...
Which makes sense because I'm holding the gears too. So I'm
that's exactly right. Bella, Danny, I need you both to roll me Constitution throws again, please.
8.
17.
Okay. Danny, that's 2 failures. All right.
But Jeremy, that is scaring the shit out of me. The way that just the
he
blockage
looks
of
like
his
this
face,
looks like some kind of murderer from an 80s movie
yeah, it's
franchise.
the face is entirely blocked out except for the eyes and like one line for the nose, and that is so unnerving.
It's weird.
I think I got a way to fix this.
I mean, I don't even know what to say right now. I think the graphics thing is haunted. Look at Colby's face, and that's what you look like right now. The fear on that boy's face right now. You are every 80s nightmare just coming back. Yeah, there it is. What have you done? Did you lower your...
With
We
my
exercise
perception,
the demons.
Exercise the demons.
this place is clear.
It is cleansed.
With that perception check that I made, I can obviously see something is up.
Yeah, or down, as so to speak.
Fair. Could
Yeah.
I have rattled off a bless as a chill? I'm here.
Do it. Roll a saving throw. Roll your to see how well you do it. Danny. Oh boy.
Just the D20 plus my.
Well, yeah. While you roll that, I'm gonna get these guys for just a minute, Jeremy. Okay. So, as you do your second fail, You are going to... how do I want to do this? You're struggling. She's in there. I know there's ways written in the book, but I don't really care for the drowning rules because it's very... It's tough. Like, if I do that right now, you're fucked. It's like a half hit point drop, then 0. I mean, it messes you up. Okay? So, but you've only been here for a matter of moments. You can hold your breath for quite a long time, but the constitution checks aren't doing you any justice because you're trying to do work and stuff under here. I want you to take... We're going to increase this as it goes. Okay? Right now you're going to take 6 points of damage. Okay? And your chest starts to feel heavy as you feel your nose is starting to struggle, and you can feel that cold going up and tasting the back of your throat. Water's getting in there. And as you went in to help, now you're starting to wonder what you can do to correct this situation. This panic starts to sit in a little bit, and your lungs start to feel very heavy, and you've lost sight a little bit of your sides. Bella, in that same moment, seeing Bastille for just that flash moment in the direction that he came at you from, you start to get a kind of a sense of things. With the roll that you rolled, you're able to dive down and find this kind of inner willing courage that before was kind of lacking, and you kind of firm up a little bit. I want you to do me another perception check, please.
You said perception?
I did, yes.
So that is wisdom. So 16?
16. You're able to identify the other side now, and we're going to stop at that moment and let Brahmas do his thing. You're able to snap through with the urgency of Bastille's presence being on there. You're able to pull your shit together enough to realize where the other side is now because of Bastille's presence. Okay? Brahmas, what are you doing?
Because they haven't seen them struggle, I was going to rattle off a bless, but if it seems like they're kind of getting their bearings, then it's just going to be a whole lot of me going and grabbing a hold of one of them, whoever's struggling. And
okay, and your athletics was what?
Athletics to move was a 13.
Okay, you're getting there slow. Danny has taken some damage, and by the time you get there, you can see that Danny seems to be out of sorts to a degree. He is having trouble finding his bearing, but his eyes are still open by the time you get there. Okay? As you do, Bastille, roll me a dexterity, an agility check here at disadvantage.
21 with disadvantage.
21?
Mhm.
Okay. With the sight of Brahmas, you are able to get some bit of bearing, knowing that you only have a few moments left because of all this extra struggle before water starts to get into it, and you have a bit of a flashback. And when you see Silwen, and she turns and looks at you with this kind of blank expression as she looks the other way and sees the light in the distance. And you see Brahmas marching towards you, this large dark figure that's coming through that side of the tunnel. You can't help but imagine looking at Silwen for a minute and seeing the eyes of Valdera. There's a moment when you see her and you see this look that Silwen has across her face, and it just very much reminds you of that look and moment that Valdera had. I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
20.
With a 20, you're able to snap out of that. And you're able to pull yourself together enough to move in that direction and start to exit your way out of this tunnel. Okay? But role play to that degree because you went through that just now when we get to the other side.
Almost as you're approaching, you actually see Bast as he's fighting like this. He reaches in his cloak and looks like he's grabbing something. And then he sees her twist, and then he releases that and starts to swim. But he's swimming. You can tell that even though he's swimming in that direction, he doesn't look like the calm Bast that's moving through something. He's pawing at the water like somebody that's just learned to swim.
Okay. Okay. Bella, go ahead and roll me an acrobatics. Now that you've got your footing and your finesse, and see if how you're able to work your way up out of here.
Let's see. I rolled an 8, and Dex is +4.
Well, +8 altogether.
Yeah, so 16.
Okay, very good. You are the first one that reaches the other side. And as you do, there is a large gasp for air as you get to the other side. Very similarly to what happened before. Let me move your all's characters down here. Okay, just one moment. Go here. Let's go Brahmas. Let's go Bast. Okay. So, as you arrive out the other side, Silhouette, give me an idea, role play through it. What do you do when you reach the other side and you come up through these steps? You probably emerge somewhere out in this area right here. Paint a picture for me.
I think she kind of like looks up. She's like getting her bearings again, but the first priority is to check up on Bast because she knows that he was physically there with her.
Okay. As your head breaches the water, you hear Karsu's voice, Silhouette. And she comes over in that direction. You can see her eyes white, moving quickly. The long feathers and different adornments that she has on her person definitely moving and shaking as she's making her way towards you. You have a free moment here to say something if you choose before you go back down for Bast.
I don't think she would even say anything because I think more so it's like fix the problem first and then speak. Okay. So I think in that moment she acknowledges, okay, Karsu, Bast, and begins directing her attention that way.
Okay. Karsu comes up along the side here to where you were at. And as you go turn, and what were you doing? Were you getting ready to go back under and grab for him? Or are you just looking for him? Are you going back under the water as you're standing? Or how are you doing this? Just so I know.
Yeah, I think she's trying to like reach her wing in and try to like fish without going under.
Do you reach a hand out or do you do anything of that nature?
Wing, because it has the larger width, and then her hand out in the space. So then if she scoops him, it would push him and she can grab his hand.
Awesome. Bastille, that is what you see as you're making your way through the last 5 or 10 foot or so of this tunnel, riding out a average to decent constitution throw. What is going through your mind and what are you doing near the end of this as you're able to exit?
He reaches for that hand like it's the life-saving thing that it is.
Okay. All right, with that, you emerge back up out of the water, but you have someone else coming in behind you. Coming in hot, everybody. Brahmas, you see these people, they're standing in the way. You need to get through here. What are you doing?
As Silhouette's pulling him out of the water, I'm just kind of putting the hand up. Just kind of...
Okay, as you do. Just for the hell of it, roll strength check, please.
Oh no. 17.
As this happens, Bastille, you literally feel something grab tight onto your back. as you were starting to get up out of the water, and you feel something literally pick you up and hold you out above the water, right? As he rolls this roll, and he pretty much triumphs you straight up out there like he's showing off a trophy at the end of a race. And Brahmas appears underneath you. You feel yourself with only your shins being in the water at this point as he has lifted you completely up. And Brahmas, you want to say you just kind of sit him off to the side, or how do you handle this?
Yeah, I'm just kind of getting him up and out of the water.
Okay. Outstanding. And with that, Bastille, you guys, you can have your role-play moment here. How do you want to move forward from this?
Bast choking goes. Doorbach said he could get anything out of somebody with a bucket of water and a rag. I believe it now.
That's fair. Oh, shit. That's
It was
good.
a straight line. Why did you struggle?
You big demon. Silouan killed it. It's awesome.
Deception check.
That one.
Yeah. So,
Well, so
what do you think, Mirk? We
Somebody,
good, buddy?
somebody mark that down for
what's
history.
your total score on that?
Deception.
Hey, it's a nat 1, sir. It's a nat 1, Jeremy.
True, but he's a bullshitter, so even his worst bullshit could bullshit somebody naive.
If that's how you want it, go ahead.
8.
Okay.
8?
Yeah.
I rolled a 9 for insight, so
Did I
I
say
believe you, or I don't believe you, but only barely.
Then his Danny's like, Bromus is like,
Anything is possible in here. I wouldn't be
right? Oh, God. Silouan,
not this time.
your reaction as this shit show's going down.
Yeah, I think she's like already sort of walking out of the water, like kind of trying to flick the water off her wing and kind of being like, I'm meant for the air, not for the water. And then in my head, the reason why she was failing so much was like, I think the water was maybe weighing down her wing so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, has all that. So I think she's like, trying to flick the water off and feeling kind of that discomfort after she catches her breath.
Bromus, you look down and you notice that her helmet seems to be on the ground just down below your leg as you pretty much are a plug going through the middle of this hallway. And you seem to have kicked her helmet along as it's submerged just down below the water beneath your feet.
Yeah, I'll reach down, I'll grab it,
Okay.
dump the water out. You drop something.
I think that's what she physically does, pick it up and sort of does like a little, and she's like holding it like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, right on. I get it. And then look into how do you talk to that face, Bella? How do you do that?
What, would you like the face returned?
Wow.
Just the two little beady black eyes.
I hate it so much.
Well,
There's
that's the demon that they encountered.
one of the most terrifying shit to me sometimes is like that thing when like somebody's like looking directly at you, like with that sort of horror movie look. And
What
I
makes
hate it
worse,
so much.
if you
I hate
look,
it.
you can see the little tiny bit of white spot in my eyes, and that's
God, look
what
at the-
turns black.
The
Yeah,
grin
yeah.
on your face from doing this shit to people is what I'm getting a kick out of. I think that's fantastic.
I can't
I
figure out what's going on with it.
I
Yeah, I
literally
know.
get chills the minute I look down and see that. I'm like,
You'd shit if like Jeremy does that and all of a sudden you hear the voice from the grudge. Oh.
All
Oh,
right,
I'm thinking
well-
the
What?
stream's haunted, man.
Do what now?
I'm thinking the stream's haunted.
Something's up. Anyway, moving on.
it's Wizards of the Coast.
Happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. Okay. Well, there was 40 minutes of her life that we'll never get back as people had a hard time swimming through a tunnel. I'll tell you, we're just cruising through this.
By the way, I know I
Yes.
sent like a GIF like in the chat. Failed at doing so 2 times beforehand, and then finally sent it. But
Yeah.
when you said Promise picked up Bast as he was getting out, I literally just pictured I pictured Lion King.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. That's that tracks. That tracks. That's fair. That's awesome. So with this, you hear commotion and a bunch of sound coming from down the hallway, Kill Tusk. No one has exactly yelled out your name, like, hey, Kill Tusk, we're in trouble. But there seems to be quite a bit of commotion. Is there anything particularly that you'd be doing? Is you're just very easy, you're breathing fine, nothing's wrong. You're just kind of hanging out doing your thing, bud. What is it? Is there anything you would like to further investigate in this room as you're waiting? Or not?
I think he would end up there, like, us taking the salt over, and he would start walking back that way, like, things together.
Okay, I'm convinced the stream is haunted because
Okay,
on my end that was very garbled.
So what the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Very
There you go. Is that
garbled.
better? Is that better?
So you okay?
I think I end up turning my voice mod on, and I think it automatically turned the voice changer on.
Okay.
Because that was Bob apparently.
That was Bob. Bob, are you with us? I don't know what else to say at this point. Jeremy's in. Here he comes. Here comes Bob.
I hate it. At least it's not looking at us right now. Because
Listen, if it wasn't for just entertainment purposes, I would end this video right now. If it weren't just for entertainment purposes. Okay, so moving on past the demonic possessed voices and Jeremy's odd face on the screen. Hold on for a minute. Hey, Amy! You've got to see this shit. Come down here.
It's gonna go away.
Because Jeremy has a haunted expression on his face, and Colby sounds like he's possessed by... He's like an episode of the Winchesters. It's just the craziest shit. So anyway, Jeremy, can you move when you're got that going on? Well, I can hear Jeremy just fine. But
I can't. I didn't
The
hear.
top of my feed.
like this is what Jeremy's face is turning into, and he has these beady eyes when he looks right at the screen. Holy shit. And it keeps doing this to him, he doesn't know why. And Colby's got a voice changer that goes on automatically, and he gets on there, he's like, shall we play a game? It was just creepy. So anyway, just thought you would enjoy that. Let's focus in. Oh my god, stop that. Amy started laughing. Alright, moving forward. Listen, if you all could see Bella's face right now, you would be having the same blast that I am. This is fantastic. Okay. So, let's focus up and move this forward a little bit. So, in that moment, you were up there, and I asked if there was anything else you wanted to perceive or take a look at, Kill Tusk. What is it you were doing? You heard some commotion and some voices. You heard Karsu say out Silouan's name a little loud. What are you doing in light of all that? You've got this room here, you've got that going on, and you're kind of watching like a watchdog out over this large expanse in front of you. So, regardless, I'll have you roll me a perception check. But, give me an idea about where your focus is, sir.
I think he would have been interested in why Karsu just yelled Silouan's name like that, and also be wondering like what's been taking them so long after what was yelled to the hall before Nanny left, when Bast left.
Okay.
And I think would start moving that way.
Okay. As you do, go ahead and roll me that perception check. Tell me what you get.
$17.
Okay. Nothing really catches your eye out of the ordinary. Every once in a while in the distance, you see what you think might be just a brief moment of a ghostly, like Atlati warrior that's just kind of phasing in and out of existence through this place, almost like gnats that just seem to be going through the atmosphere, right? But nothing solid, nothing is triggered. Business as usual down here in the haunted water temple of Yota. You know what I mean? Nothing that you haven't seen already. As you head this direction, you are there in time as you walk up through the hallway to the entrance of it here. You're there in time to see Silwyn trying to shake water off of herself. Brahmas sitting Bastille down on the side wall there. And they seem like they've came back from that. And you notice that Brahmas has a set of gears underneath of one of his arms. Okay? Jeremy, that is truly some disturbing shit.
I don't know if you saw it on my end. It actually shows that my face was twitching for a second.
It did. It did. It absolutely did.
I was about to turn the video off. That's tripping me in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some Max Headroom shit. Okay. So, moving on. Colby, what are you doing once you get here to this thing? If nothing, that's fine. If something, that's even better. Was there any kind of words or verbiage you want to use in this moment?
Yeah, I think he would say, did you have to fight the water? Like, fight the water? Not like that, boys. Not in that accent, no.
It's all good, man. But you're just asking if they fought the water.
I just want, yeah, I would like fight the water. That's how I want to say it, but the accent just came automatically, and I don't know why.
It's perfectly fine, bud. We're not actors. We're just here to play D&D. You're fine. All right, so go ahead. Responses to this joke made by the native of these lands.
Well, if I go by my video feed, wah, 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 wah.
Very nice. Anybody else?
We were victorious.
I think Silverman's like deadpan.
Deadpan off. Okay. With that, guys, what is everyone doing moving forward? Now, we know that there's this situation that's going on up here to the north. Just a refresher, remind everybody that we have 2 doors that lead to the north. You have this chamber over here to the side. And I believe upon investigation, you realize that this was like a fountain, like you guys have seen before, correct? And what else did you realize about this fountain, Danny?
Oh, that we can't break it.
Correct.
We were pretty sure that what's underneath it's another set of gears, but we just can't. And also, I could pick that lock if I had a skull-shaped key and a gem.
Right, I remember that now. Okay.
He understands how it works, but just doesn't have the tools to make it.
Good deal. And you also know that you have this room down here, and you have another set of gears to deal with. Plus, whatever else. I mean, there's a lot of space here. So I'll let you guys, if you want to, we'll go to, like, if you want to, we'll go to a quick 15-minute break. You guys can go ahead and decide what you want to do moving forward. And then when we come back from break, you guys can do a little bit of role play, have the scene, and we'll move forward from there. Is that okay? Or does anyone else have anything first they need to accomplish? Okay. All right. So let me get ready to pause it here. Just a moment. Okay, we're going to pause this. I'm going to refill my coffee and do a couple things, and then we'll be back in a minute to traverse this a little bit further. Later. Okay. And I think that took back off right. Let me see where this is at. Yes. Okay. And we're recording again. Good deal. Okay, back from break. Everyone's had a chance to get some laughs out and do some things. Jeremy seems to have worked the ghosts out of his system for at least a little bit anyway. We'll see how that shit goes. Yeah, I know. It's questionable at best, right? Yeah. So, everyone has gathered back into this room. Okay. So, the trick now is, what is everybody going to do moving forward? Go ahead and have the conversation. Role play out the room. Tell me what you guys want to do with what you have collected so far. Lick your wounds. And moving it on down the road. What's the deal, guys? What are you doing?
Oh. I think if one of us goes and gets those gear pieces, I can then use the illusion and we'll have 3, but we're still missing at least the 4th one, so we've got to get this thing open. Tiltuff, do you have those skulls? The granite ones where they had practiced?
I think so.
Come with me. I got a plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sensing that if Kill Tusk is all about this, and if you have something you want to say in character about this, then you two are going back there to try to work up some kind of workaround for the 2 levers, correct? Is that what you're getting at, boss? Okay. Silouan and Brahmas, what are you two talking about after this has happened and you see these 2 begin on this venture?
I'm heading down into that room.
Okay, are you just okay? I'll just move your piece, Silouan. No one seems to be talking to you.
Jeremy, what did you say?
As he's walking past you, just come with me.
I think she follows him and likely has Karsu with her.
Okay.
Sitting there looking for the rum in the fridge. It's not even in there. It's like you.
Well, tell him to look in the cabinet then. I mean, for God's sake, it's got to be somewhere. Just go find it. Roll perception check. Hey, if they can do this on camera, I can have fun with them. I don't give a damn. All right, so let's go ahead and roll me a 1d20, Danny, with nothing added. And Jeremy, you roll me a 1d20 with nothing added. Let me know who gets highest.
I got an 8.
Bastille it is. That's so funny. All right, guys. Well, Bast,
Bastille and Kelptus, don't forget about me.
I get it. I'm trying not to. I'm trying my best not to just forget about you completely. It's so terrible. So I'm going to put you 2 guys here just kind of staring at these devices up here to the north. What's the move here, gentlemen? You have walked up back into this room. Go ahead.
As I remember, he's also wearing jewelry with different stones on it as well as part of his get-up and necklace and stuff. I'm looking to see if he has perhaps a diamond, because I happen to have a couple rubies, even though they are enchanted.
Okay. So, Colby, he asked you if you have a diamond or happen to have some kind of jewelry on you and stuff. Tell me what you're looking for, and I'll tell you what your chances are of having it. We'll do it that way.
Just need a diamond big enough to use to cast light into this thing somehow.
I think he would. At least,
No, I
at least
doubt it.
for some reason. You doubt it? Of course you would.
I really doubt it.
I figure since the place is all decorated with it, he might have some.
You roll a 1d20. You roll me a 19, you might have a really little one. You roll me a 20, and there's a chance that maybe by accident someone slipped one on your person. So you go ahead and roll the 1d20, and you be honest with me and tell me what you get.
Damn it. I got 12.
Yeah, not a chance. Hey, I'm going to
Let's
use the
start
term
down here
that's
with
used
the-
on me a lot. I'm going to tell you this, Danny. No bueno.
Maybe it's like you just see a glint and you're like, ooh, what's this? And it's like a little piece
It's
of
a
like
seashell.
glass that got shattered at one point.
It's the inside of
Well, I'm
it.
going to start with the ruby one, and using one of my rubies, I'm going to cast light through it, shining it in, and then use that skull for a pick to see if I can get it, since I understood the mechanism but didn't have the tools. But now I have a skull shape, and I have a ruby.
Okay, so walk me through it and explain it to me, and I'll tell you what you're going to do. Because you're going to have to walk me through this and tell me
So-
how you're manipulating this, and tell me which hand's doing what.
The problem is before he didn't have a skull shape to pick it with. Well, he knows that the skulls are fashioned from that. You know, they were same shaped skulls, and we had those that were actually, he had the prototypes, because long ago I was like, why did he pick those up?
So I'll give you that you could figure out and see the way that a skull that's shaped very, very similarly to the one that Colby has in his possession from before would fit into this crevice. You
Right.
can see that.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had tried to pick it before and got a good roll, and it was basically like.
Oh,
the
I remember
tool-
all that very detailedly. I'm good with that. So you see this granite skull with runes and things carved onto it, and you could see how it would fit into this hole.
So then, using the in his other hand, he's going to hold that ruby, and he's going to cast light in his hand. Try to cast that ruby light, into it, onto the ruby, and kind of position it. See if he can get ruby colored light into it, just to give it a shot.
Okay. Okay. Now I get you. And listen, it's so funny because it's always good news when I'm like, so listen. Okay. I want to appreciate your creativity. I do. I really do. And we could go through this back and forth quite a bit. The fact that if the stone thing is inside there, then how would the light get through it into the thing if the thing, and you're not even sure if you're shining the light in the ruby that's on the top or if it needs to actually come out the eyes where the rubies were at in the other skulls. You hadn't mentioned that yet. You know what I mean? You're just trying to shine light through a ruby that you have in your hand as you stick a skull into the hole. You're trying all these things. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you roll me 2 checks. And listen, if you've ever needed to do something amazing in your life, now's the time. Okay? This is so fun. Because I really want you guys to be able to shortcut and do something cool here. I'm not sure if this is going to be the way, but if it is, I'm damn proud to be a part of it. So listen. First, I want you to roll me a sleight of hand check. I want to see, or a lock picking check, or some kind of check that has to do with your hand manipulation of shit that you don't know what you're doing kind of roll for me, and tell me what roll you're choosing to go with, and tell me what you get.
It'll be
I need
It'll
the
be-
facts.
thieves' tools, because it's lockpicking. That's what you usually use for lockpicking.
I'm not even going to give you disadvantage because normally a skull is not a thieves' tool. I'm not even going to be that picky. I'm going to say you're proficient in skulls. And I'm going to I want you to that's the name of this episode. Proficient with skulls. That is the name. I'm writing it down. Go ahead and roll me your first check for that. And I just want you to note this DC is not a baby. Okay? So go ahead.
25.
Okay. All right. Now, I need you to do. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. With 25, right?
I want to use a point of inspiration to. So, use an inspiration. What can I can either add to the roll or I can re-roll. Correct?
That's true. Yeah, you can.
I would like to add to picking this lock.
Okay, that's adding a 1d10, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see what you get.
10, 25. Or 35 now.
Okay. You got a 10. Okay. 35.
Now I have no inspiration left.
Yeah, I know, and I really am on your side. I hope you didn't waste it. I really am on your side. So listen. Oh my God. When you put that skull in there, and you're looking at the runes and how they line up and stuff, and I can't make that skull different than it is to suit your role.
Right.
Okay? But I will tell you this. Even though it wasn't exactly as easy as you had wanted it to be. And even you were worried about it pushing it too far and maybe breaking something. And you were being so gentle as to make sure to work this thing in there. It does not fit in there perfectly, Bastille, but through your manipulation and moving it slowly and listening to it and doing different things, you don't believe this was the skull meant for this one particularly, but it does fit, and several of the different components do line up as it goes into the piece. And Colby, Kiltusk is watching him do this, and you've never seen anyone be so depth and cunning with a 35 in the way that he was able to make just that granite skull that you just simply had on you, the way he made this work. It is crazy that he got that son of a bitch in there. I'll just leave it at that. Okay? So now, that's part one of the puzzle. Of a puzzle, you don't know how many pieces there are. As you do that, give me a description, and yes, I will be paying attention to your words, of how the light goes through this ruby, because you've decided that this stone, this pink stone, is a ruby. Explain to me how you're doing that, sir.
He's going to cast light out of his hand, like centered on his hand, and he's going to put the ruby up close to that ruby over top so that that light is filtered through it.
Okay. Okay.
'Cause in my head,
you got two things here. If you do this, I do not know what the fuck. Okay. I need you to roll me a check for the spell. Now, everyone, this is one thing that we do very different than any of the other classes. We roll for DCs, and we'll have these guys roll to see how well they pulled off the spell they're casting. So if this one, you would roll a 1d20 plus your spell save DCs for a typical spell from that school or what you do, and tell me what your total is, Danny.
you want the spell attack modifier or it's DC?
It's the DC one, because you're not trying to throw this or do anything like crazy if this you're using it right there in front of you.
17 and 9 is 26.
26. Okay. As you hold that up, the last one, the last check of all this that seals this up, you're holding that in place with the one hand, and you're holding it and you're messing with components and you're making things happen and you're saying words, and as you hold that ruby between your fingers and you cast that light from your palm and it shines through and you line it up on top of this pink reddish kind of stone on the top, you can see that ruby emanates, but there is a light that comes out from around some of the places where the skull fit in that didn't fit in perfect, and it seems like something is the light is escaping somehow, and this is your third obstacle. Okay, now first I want you to roll me an insight check.
Insight. 18.
Okay. There were no stones in the eye sockets of this particular skull. And now that you're seeing this light in this way, you're realizing that is okay. And you know if those stones were put into those eye sockets, that this would be even possibly more challenging to put in if it were off. But if that light was able to reflect from the eyes of that piece inwards, that would be the key. I'll give you one last moment of creative something here to do me an Arcana check, or some other kind of check. You have to tell me what it is to be able to make that light reflect inward instead of escaping outward to activate this device, and I will say, for the best term, illegally.
Let's see. So I've got the ruby, got the light. He's gonna have to line it up, so it's
You get my
using the-
point, right?
yeah, using the facets of the gem
mean-
and moving back and forth to get it. I think it would be a dex check to line it up, you know, because the light's already here, and it's just getting that refractory surface to cast it in there.
Okay. With a spell being cast and with the skull being held at the same time, this is going to be a straight up dexterity check at disadvantage. This is just dexterity of 1d20 plus your proficiency and your bonus.
So with proficiency and bonus in dex, that is a 24 because I have a 10 total in that.
At disadvantage, you got a 24.
Yeah, I got a 15 and a 14 on my rolls.
Okay. A 35, a 26, and a 24. I cannot argue with that. As this happens, and you do that, let me consult the book to see exactly what it is that moves here. Okay. This would be lever number in room. Just a minute here. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. This is room O. Just a second. Okay. As you do that, in the distance, Kill Tusk, stone door number 4 opens halfway. Enough for a person to get through. But not all the way. Okay? And you hear the water begin to rush, and you hear things start to move. Bastille, I'll give you a minute to say something. As Kill Tusk, you see the door begins to open, but it is not opening as true or as surely as some of the other doors did in here. You guys need to speak to each other. What are you doing? What are you saying at this moment?
Keep this close to the door, and I hand him one of my daggers, one of my celestial daggers. Summon it, and
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna go under it.
Well, no, you're not handing him anything. Your hands are busy.
Oh yeah, crap! I can't leave
You
it.
can't fucking move, sir. I'll give you a free action to say something quickly. Colby, what are you doing in this moment? You're seeing that door, but you're seeing the struggle. Are you conveying what you're seeing? Or are you doing something else, buddy? What you doing? Shit's tight.
Yeah, he would tell Brahmas that, not Brahmas, Bastille, that the door, and he'll say, the door is halfway, but that's out the way. So,
Get Brahmas to jam it up. I've got my hands full.
Okay, that's it, Colby. You have a moment to act here. The door is halfway open, but is teetering for just a minute. Give me an idea. What are you doing? You want to do a perception check and look around? Do you have something on your person? What are you doing? What do you do, Stuart?
I'm pretty sure
Hurry up!
he would go to the entryway and just yell Brahmas.
Okay. When all else fails, we yell Brahmas. Brahmas.
Hodor.
That's terrible. In this tight moment, I can just see Brahmas like putting the gears in, being like in here, Brahmas. He's like, oh Jesus. So yeah, Silouan, you hear this yelled from the distance, and at this point, I'm going to give you guys a few moments here to say what you're getting ready to do, and then I'll interrupt you with this shit at the proper amount of time, Jeremy. God bless. So, tell me what you guys are doing there in your happy, unhindered world and everything.
So, what I'll probably do after being summoned I'll put the gears on the floor because I know there's a pretty good degree of intricacy involved.
Well, hold on now. I want you to go through your motions. I'm rolling to see at what point they yell at you.
Oh, okay.
So you're going through your motions, guys, like there's nothing going on, as it should be. And then I'm going to keep rolling a dice, and when I get a certain number, every so many seconds, that's when it's going to happen.
So with Sylvan and
Oh, great.
everybody walking in behind him,
Yeah.
he's gonna look behind him, and just say, "Should I just put the gears in any of them? Do you figure there might be a sequence?"
For those of you that don't know, Bella has forgotten that just hand signals don't translate very well when we can't see her. So let's try to
shrugs.
be a little bit more.
Sorry.
What's that?
She shrugs. A bit.
You are with a group of people. I'm talking super helpful. This is awesome. Silwyn shrugs. Atlas shrugged, and so didn't Silwyn. Anything else after that young lady?
No, I think like I'm not sure if she was with him when he first did the first one.
No, she wasn't.
No.
So she's kind of just like doesn't even know what this is context wise, like that it was open at all.
Okay. Karsu, I'm gonna roll 1d20. 20 is super helpful. 1 will also shrug. They're gonna be shrugging sisters. It's all good. So that's a 6. As she comes up and she peers over your shoulder, she painfully says something that seems very obvious to you, Silwyn. Almost to the point where it would almost pull sarcasm from you if you yourself weren't a bit perplexed about the situation. She says, I think he's put... Is he not to put the gears inside of those? And that's all she says.
Why didn't I think of that?
If you do that, I'm making an audible clang sound as you do this. Please tell me, for God's sake, that you are sarcastic. The Atlati scion that's friends are in perilous battle outside the walls. Oh, sometimes you just need to laugh in role-playing games. Yeah.
So like she's pointing out the statues go, like the gears go on the statues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
As Thomas is currently holding this set of gears, he just looks over to the other statue he's already worked, and
Oh, so good.
I figured that out.
That's awesome. That's
I think she may kind of flatly be. I'm like, you asked your opinion about whether or not there was an order. I don't know the context of the order, and I don't have an answer for you.
And you can tell that this is a conversation that she's had with Ignatius. Like, she's getting her frustrations out with long night conversations with, like, I don't get your book stuff, Avian Wizard. You understand? I don't understand. And you can almost hear the echoes of that conversation that she has surely had resonate in the way she is telling Brahmas,
I like
lay
your
off.
words, Magic Man. Karsu, would you mind coming here just in case this statue utters a different phrase than the first?
Oh, inspiration. Good job, Mr. Keaton. Inspiration for you. When people are shrugging and you don't know what else to do, you're remembering that they speak out different language words. Good job, sir. I'll give it.
I think in reaction to about the when it speaks, I think Silhouette may be like, you see, my first guess would not to think that the frozen statue would speak, so not trying to make assumptions.
Wow.
And then I think she's in a little bit of like
Roll
like
for self-preservation. Oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so I'll be honest, man. For a video that started out kind of gray, I'm having a good time right now. So thank you, everybody. Jeremy, which one are you going for, buddy?
Just gonna go with the next one on the right.
Well, you mean to the left?
Promise is right.
Gotcha, buddy. As you do, and you walk underneath the shadows and behind him, because sometimes I do cool stuff with graphics. I have to zoom in when I get to show off a little bit of stuff. I will let you, with the aid of Karsu, work this out to a degree. Now, do you remember exactly what you did or had to roll for the last one, Jeremy? As I do not, but I'm sure whatever I come up with will work.
I think it was just a strength in order to get it up and get it in there.
Well, that sounds odd, because I know there would have been at least some kind of investigation or something to make sure. Whatever. Let's go ahead and do. What would it be? Neither in order to. Let's do insight with advantage, because you've done this once right before. When you get over here, you do notice this looks very similar to the same makeup and structure of the last one, but the pieces are different. Being in its posture, although my graphics depict them all being exactly the same, there are different ways in which they go in here and stuff. So it is a similar process, yet different piece.
24.
A 24. With that, Silouan, in this moment, because you really can't read too many emotions off of Promise's face for frowns or excited moments, but Mirk is able to pilot Promise and do this extremely surely. This is done with confidence. And as these gears go into this being, the arms begin to move, and you've not seen this. Now, you heard me describe it before, so I'll be brief. But the arms actually come over and pull this polearm into the chest, and the spear goes down. And it goes into this hole into the floor, and as it's given a counterclockwise turn, a large ka-ching goes throughout, and you hear rumbling going through the floor. Okay? Now, as that happens, you hear water and stone moving and things rushing. And let me find my graphic to bring up the water in this room real quick, okay, buddy? Just 1 minute, Jeremy. Then I'll get back to it. Let's do just maps and waterways. Image. Just a minute, guys. Sorry. It takes me just a second. Okay, the central room right now.
Well, it's not like there's 1,000 moving parts in one map, right?
Oh, bud, I tell you, it was really fun, but holy shit. So this is that's Northwest Fountain. Here you go. Found it. And as that happens, this is what you see. The water begins to rise up through it. And I gotta check something real quick. This is room number, once again, this is room N. Let me see what that one activates. Okay. Dude. You guys are gonna shit. Oh, you guys are gonna shit. That's crazy.
Oh boy.
Okay. Where's everybody else at? Let me make sure I do this right. Okay.
Leashed a barrier, and then the Quetzalcoatl just bursts into the temple.
Yeah. You hear something rumble. Promise, just for the hell of it, do me a perception check, please. Standard. Danny, I need you to do the same thing. Kill Tusk and Silouan. I need you all four to do me a perception check, please. Let me know what your totals are.
16.
16. That'll do it. Colby, what'd you get?
Yeah, 16.
16 will do it. Silouan, what'd you get?
A 13.
13, not quite enough, but something seems familiar. Bastille.
18.
You hear a very, very similar sound. compared to the one that you heard before. That's crazy. I mean, there was a chance that was going to happen that way. But I didn't see it happening that quick. And you hear water. But it's not in here. You hear water begin to move. You hear large, ancient change and stone moving. And it's echoing, coming from this hallway, guys. It's coming from the central room from somewhere. And it's familiar. It's a familiar distant sound compared to what you guys heard earlier. As you've just now let go of the gears and that water has filled. What are you guys doing at this moment?
As long as the gears are completely set, I'm moving, following the sound.
Okay. As that happens, Brahmas, you walk up abruptly upon Silwen. Silwen is standing there listening, and she's looking at the walls and studying about things. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, Bella. I'm just going some dynamic, okay? You come up to her. Are you saying anything, or are you rushed in this moment, or are you taking your time, Brahmas?
A little rushed.
Okay.
Wait,
Silwen, you see that, so act out the moment, definitely.
It's just coming up. Silwen, follow me. Stay behind me. This place has been far too quiet for far too long. It's an awful lot of noise.
Silwen, your response to this?
Lead the way.
Okay. You headed here further, or just as far as you can get?
Yeah, I mean, just as far as I can go.
Okay. Bastille, you're hearing this in the distance, but your hands are full, sir. What is it that you're doing? This is a hell of a thing. And you don't know what's getting ready to happen, but you could hear Brahmas distantly saying words to Scylla when you hear like, oh, no, sir. But you do hear the words, follow me, ring out as they seem to be going, not running, but with haste, with urgency. And you can hear that really well because, you know, it's fucking Brahmas. It's like throwing a beer can down a well. Which would have been the name of the episode had we not had proficiency with skulls. I gotta stick true to my gut, you know? I mean, shit. Let's have some fun. Bastille, in that moment, Kiltusk, you recognize this sound as the exact same sound earlier, and it's Mechan engineering as the sound that happened when he messed the statue on the top right. And I want you guys to know something. When I built these 4 statues in this map, I rolled dice to see which ones affected what in this place. Just so you know.
He's gonna pull the skull out. I mean, it's the best he's done the best he can with it. Which I would like to say is he is the greatest lock picking machine ever.
Well, let me explain to you this. As that happened, and you were doing all that, with all those good rolls, I'm going to say something very simple, okay? That door started to open, but you could see and hear that gear mechanism on top of that thing came loose. Danny. Your instincts tell you if this could be thrown over, that door could be opened. Before you go ahead and quit everything, because you've done a great job here. I mean, you did a hell of a job. I just want to throw that out there at you so you have an understanding of that, okay?
Let's throw this
You've unlocked this mechanism, and it has started to let loose on that, but it just needs the extra push on this to seal it in place. Now, you told him to go get Brahmas, and at that moment, when Brahmas walks out of that hallway with a 5 on my 6-sided dice, you hear the urgent words of which one of you guys are yelling for Brahmas in this moment?
Squaws.
And Brahmas, as you get to about right there, I'm going to describe to you see something, and then you hear the words of Bastille. I'm going to show you what you see first.
No, I was young.
Okay.
It's not.
Or the words of Kiltusk. This large central door seems to begin to move now that it has been fully released, with you pulling the exact 2 levers it needed to raise it. Now the other 2 levers probably do other things in different places, but this is where the focus is for now. And with that, you see this. Just a minute. If I'm doing this right, I hope I am. The door begins to fall down into the floor, where there are large grooves that it goes down into. And as it does, it takes the grate down with it. And then water begins to flow down a set of steps from behind it. Okay, let me make sure I've got my graphics right. There you go. Look at me doing things with art. Yes, sir. And then the water starts flowing down the steps and filling up that central reservoir and raising it up just a little bit as you see this whoosh of water begin to flow. And you can see that large central door has been removed, although you can't see what's beyond it from the angle you're at. When you hear the words of Kiltusk. And Kiltusk, say it again, please.
Promise.
There it is. What are you doing at that moment? It's pulling. You know what I mean? What the fuck do you do? I mean...
I'm gonna wait a moment till all the noise calms down.
As soon as that water rushes over them steps, it's just the sound of rushing water. Nothing else.
Okay. Promise to turn. We need everybody before we address that. We'll see what they need.
So you're asking, who are you telling this to?
Sylvan.
Okay, Silouan. What is your response to that? Brahmas, you seem like you're wanting to stand there.
No,
Are you going?
I made a point of it. We need to go see what they need.
Okay, all right, cool.
So we need everybody before we even think of that.
Okay. Silouan, what is your play on this? What is your take? As you are standing looking over the side beside him and see this large door come down, separating from the ceiling and go into the actual floor itself, letting water trickle down a central stairway and filling up the surrounding aqueducts, you could say, and water passages around. As Brahmas hears the cry of Kiltusk in the distance. What are you doing?
I agree. I think we should get everybody together first.
Okay. As you guys rush into the room, Danny, I need you to roll me a composure check. This is going to be charisma. 1d20 plus your charisma bonus, and tell me what you get.
17 plus 7, 24.
Very good. You are a normal person would have a very hard time holding this like this for this long. Although the stress is real, you are able to maintain that spell. Okay? And the holding of that granite skull in that place, but you cannot move.
The sweat's dripping off his nose. He's probably remembering at some point when Roth would punish him by making him hold a spell.
That's right. Awesome role play. And you're not wrong, sir. You're not wrong. Rothadir was definitely about that. Brahmas, you guys come up here. Go ahead and do some role play, guys. What are you all saying to each other as Brahmas, you walk up to this section with Silouan at your side? And you guys see the scene where Bastille is over here like Master Lockpicker doing his thing, and you see Colby as character Kiltusk is beckoned for you guys urgently. Let's go ahead and have a scene. Everyone, talk, do whatever you gotta do. I'm just listening right now.
Promise, if you could maybe like lock this lever in place.
I'm getting a beer. Keep talking. I can hear you.
You've never worked so hard in your life on a lock.
Just throw the lever.
Push a button.
With that, Brahmasol, he'd be walking
Hold
over
the
there.
lever.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
This elf has literally got beads of sweat coming off of his nose.
Okay.
Brahmasol, he'd walk over and put a hand on the lever, but then lean down and look at
Yeah.
Bast.
Yeah.
I
Oh, that's
have
good
never
stuff.
seen you sweat over a lock.
That's beautiful. Yes. Okay. So, with that, with a comical amount of stress, Mirk, what would you like Brahmas to do in this moment? And I need you to roll appropriately.
Bast has said, lock the lever, so that's what he's going to do.
All right.
Lever, try to see if he can't lock it in place.
All right, because it looks very similar to the ones that you saw down on that table in that other chamber. You believe if you were to push this one, you don't see much of a difference in this one than that one. Okay? Go ahead and roll athletics. And let's see what you get. Or just plain old strength. You tell me. This would be more strength, because you're just busting onto it. You know what I mean?
Nat 20 for a 25.
Okay. Okay, pulling out the nat 20s when it fucking matters. I like it, dude. Very, very cool. As you do this, that lever pushes all the way over. And Danny, in that last minute, because of how well he did this, you hear the locking mechanism happen, and that skull spits out at you. I want you to roll me a 1d20. 18 or 20, tell me.
I did not. Got another 17 though.
Okay, not bad. It startles the literal dog shit out of you, right? Like, you're like, right? As it spits that skull out and hits your chest and bubbles down, but you're able to catch it and kill Tusk. You're like, oh, you know, like, oh shit. And Brahmas has pushed that all the way over into a locked position. And as that happens, stone door number 4 is completely removed, but at this angle you cannot see into that room currently. Let me go ahead and move that door, okay? Just a minute. See if I can find some bitch. Stone door number 4. Bye-bye. Got it. Okay. Good deal. Now that that's done,
Be gone.
what's the next play? What are you guys doing?
At this moment, he actually high fives Brahmas. He's kind of excited about what he just accomplished.
Well, yeah. Awesome.
You know what I
Have a
just
little bit
did?
of celebration. Yeah.
I picked the.
Bast
fucking
just, I was just looking at Bast. Did you just pick a lock with a skull?
He's
and a
proficient
light
in skull.
spell with a ruby. And then he's like, you had to shine it around through its eyes like this, and you had to.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so good.
dude. Little spider my ass. And he says that, and then he looks around and realizes, like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that name.
Oh, yeah, right on. Yeah, yeah. You kind of let the cat out of the bag there, but you know what? What a moment for it. And I would give you inspiration had you not used inspiration to do this, which would cross the streams. And if you ever watch Ghostbusters, crossing the streams is bad. So we're not going to do that. But
I feel like that performance in and of itself is worth awarding at least an additional point to sleight of hand.
yes, you know what,
That was
Danny?
a feat.
Not that you fucking need it. But the next time, write this down. The next time you do to pick some kind of lock or work on some kind of device or something, I'm going to let you add a 1d6 to your roll just straight out naked just because of just badassness. You are carrying the wave of this victory with you like a dog when it kills a freaking is walking around with it in the mouth like, look what I did, boss, look what I did. You're carrying this around with you, sir.
I got the duck.
I got the duck.
The first
I got the duck. So, as exciting as all that was, what are y'all doing?
Checking out the open door.
Checking
So,
out the open door. All right. I hear you.
One in this room, not the big one.
It sounds like you opened a bigger door than me as we were walking. As we're walking.
Yeah, no
You
shit.
recall
What's
the
it with you
mural
and
of the
big
central
things,
room.
man?
Listen,
All right.
Do you recall
So-
the mural of the central room, the one behind the statue?
R.
That one just opened.
Dude, it's really gonna piss me off if there's a fucking ruby skull in there.
Well,
Well,
Colby. Colby says like one thing every half hour, but when he does, it's like absolute magic and brilliance. I love it. You're the silent Bob to our episode, sir. I love it.
there is another lock.
Hold on. Is that right?
No, but
Murphy?
Well, if we had a diamond, I'm sure I could get that one too. And then he kind of looks to make sure Promise doesn't have one.
Okay. Brahmas, as you traverse that way, make sure I'm doing this right.
It's unlikely that the key you need for this lock is behind the door that the mechanism was locking.
I meant the door you open. And he's like right beside you, like as you're walking, just like, come on, man, really? I meant the big door you opened.
Well, something tells me there's something much more serious behind that than keys.
Hold on for a minute. I'm reading.
Yeah, another ghost cat.
He
They're
looks up and
Takari.
goes,
Thank you very much. Something I created that is mine to use.
I forgot the
Original
name of
word.
it. Don't calm down, Brian. I forgot the name of it.
It's the Tennessee ghost cat.
Calm down, DM, you vicious bastard.
Putty cat.
See, it's
if you
terrible.
got
See
some
what he's
dead
doing?
bath, if you got dead mice, who are you gonna call?
Oh, you fuck both of you. Fuck both of you. That's all I'm saying. Do not shit on my brilliant creation. I'll not tolerate it. Your insolence.
All I'm saying is
He is right, guys. We gotta calm down or we might get smited.
the existence of Displacer Beast implies the existence of Displacer Mice.
Ooh.
It does. It does. And isn't that going to be
would
fun
be-
to watch? This is what you get. It's a very small room that seems to have something very, very familiar in it.
Have you you already topped off your vial, right?
I believe so. I did so before we purified the last one.
Bella's just smiling because she's like, I hope we're out of sponges. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
Cinnamon
I know exactly
probably
what
is
you're
like-
smiling about. Oh shit, that's so good.
I wish we could.
She's like, well, there goes the next half hour of my life. Oh God.
Up in, or you just want to go with purifying at this time?
we're safe to purify it at this point.
Are you sure?
I do certainly wish we could have found a secondary container for it, though.
Oh crap!
Oh my.
Water. I didn't use Mage Hand to cover the seal when I come back on the second one. I forgot all about it, so it mixed.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Or you can
That's
just keep your mouth shut.
He was setting off black clouds like a squid when he was going through the water. Poof. Dude, actually, now that he says that and you think back to it, Brahmas, you think you might have sensed something like that in the water as you were following in behind him, as he did forget to cover that and shit. Well, it would have been really dark. I don't think you would have noticed it so much that diluted. But anyway, yeah, you did not cover the top of that on your way back through here. I actually have that written down, believe it or not. So, Killtusk, what you doing, buddy?
Giving him the water.
Giving it to who?
Bastille.
Okay. Bastille, he hands that closed container of blessed water from one of the ivory totems, and he hands it over to you. What is it that you're doing with said water, sir?
He looks at him and goes, "You could dump it if you'd like."
Okay. Killtusk will go up there and pour a little bit of that water in.
Last time
Okay.
water demons got me though.
as you do, go ahead and roll me a basic dexterity check.
That's the exact look that Brahmas gives you. Just
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me a check. And do you want me to describe this, or you've heard it enough times where you understand what this looks like?
I understand. What check am I rolling?
Sleight of hand or a dexterity check to make sure when you put this in here, you don't splash it on yourself, you don't drop it. What'd you fucking do? You roll a natural 1?
No, got close though.
Okay. What'd you get, 2?
Yeah, I rolled a 2, so natural 10, so it would be a total of 10.
Okay. Because oh, Colby. You're lucky that's a 10, bud. Hey, listen. You're lucky that's a 10. Okay? So, as you do
The
that...
Midwest come out in him. You're lucky that's it.
I'll tell you about this stuff.
Bless your
As
heart.
I'm like fumbling it, I'm gonna just like look at Bast and I'm like, I told you you should have done it.
Yeah, right. I can't wait to tell you about this stuff later on when we've all had a chance to explore and we know things about it, because oh my. Having said that, when you go to pour it out there, at first you realize you're holding it up too far away from the water, and it starts to splash a little bit. And a piece comes out and slaps on the stone and begins to sizzle and stuff. And you remember all the safety tips and things that's happened before that. And you're like, oh no. And you go to take it down too quick. But as you do, you dip the thing in it, almost going too fast for just a minute. And you try to overcorrect. And as simple as this should have been, you find yourself really, really nervous about it, bud. You know what I mean? And after that, if I can find it here really quick, you will notice that the water turns pure. Let me see if I can do that real quick. Just a minute, okay? Because graphics are a thing and I need to respect them. Where is this? Beneath everything. Okay, so water and waterways. Just 1 second, guys. Empty and fill water areas. Train pedestal. Central room, no. Double pedestal, no. Just a second, I'm almost there. Hidden chambers. Acid pool cleanse. And there we go. And you have clear water afterwards, okay? Sorry, I enjoy this, and you've got to just give me my space. I'm a peacock, you gotta let me fly, man. It's all good. So, with that, Brahmas, are you up? Or what are you guys thinking about doing here?
Yep. Same old song and dance.
Okay. As you go through, go ahead and roll me that athletics, please.
Gladly, with a +9. For 23.
Very well done. You're starting to get the hang of this, bud. Good job, Mirk. You're just, I got you. Yeah, I got you. So you're able to get the gears. You tuck them up underneath one of your arms.
I like to think because that passage down the stairs looks so much thinner. Like, then he goes down there, he grabs the gears all confidently, and then turns around and he's like,
It's a 5-foot square. It's tight like a tiger. That's what I would like to say.
trying to play Tetris.
Yes, a little bit. So as you, Jesus. So as you're able
trying
to
to fit a couch through a very tiny doorway.
Pivot.
Dear God. So, as you grab said gears and they're underneath said arm and you go down said narrow passageway as you pivot through. Folks, you have gears in your hands. And we have time left. It's only 9:23. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is tomorrow. So, we can continue on a little bit, folks. What's the next step?
Let's go put the gears in the third statue. We'll see what happens. The door in the central chamber is opened.
Okay, so
The
are
third
we...
gear does something significant. I say we check that out.
Okay, so you want to keep the group together while you check that out, or are you wanting to split up again and have certain people check out one thing and then do another? Let me know how you want this to go.
In Brahmas's head, it's like we all need to be together for this because I don't know what's in there.
And you're talking about checking out the central room, or you want to put the gears in the
Yeah.
other one first?
Well, I'll put the gears in whether they're with me or not. But yeah, but everybody needs to be together whenever we check the central room.
Okay, so which one's first?
I'll put the gears in just so that
Okay.
they're safe. I know where they're good.
Awesome. And just for theatrics, without moving everybody around, oh, we forgot Karsu. Oh. Everybody say, oh.
Oh,
Oh. It's terrible. Poor NPC is over here in the corner. I'm sorry, Karsu. I think you're awesome. Scion's kick ass. I apologize.
We got
So-
me into
As everyone comes back down here, let's just have some fun with it. Let's just have a little bit of fun with my ignorance. When you guys come back in here, you're going to see her on one knee, and you're going to see her transcribing and running her fingers through the lines that detail the image of this Terachua in the actual stone, and she seems to be reciting some kind of words. And she's looking down on top of this thing as she seems somewhat distracted, as if she is reciting a tale that she's heard, or she is having some kind of out loud thoughts about what this actual depiction of this thing may be. She only heard stories about this. You know what I mean? The scarring of the land is evident. This is the closest thing to something real that did that godlike destructive swipe against her homeland. You know what I'm saying? And for her to be here and to be seeing this, you can only imagine what's going through her mind and what this process that she's going through might be like. Okay, so having said that, I won't bring all your guys' pieces in here. Let's just keep this fairly RPG here, but I'll use a little bit of, I'll do the according things. Does anyone have anything they would say to her as they come into this room? And which one of these other last two would either one of you like to interact with?
probably the back one on the left.
You saying this one here? Or this one here?
Promises left.
Okay, so it'd be this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeast.
Okay. So Brahmas, roll me a very similar check to what we talked about before. What was it again?
Insight, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. With advantage.
$26.
Very, very good. You're able to see the way in which this works, even though it's a little bit different than the other ones in very similar ways, but it's a different kind of twisted angle. You're able to see the way in which this needs to go into the figure in front of you. When you do, a very similar thing happens, and that spear is moved, goes down into the hole, and locks into place. And then let me go ahead and do the graphic real quick, and then we'll move on to the RPG in this room. Just a minute. Double pedestal. Just a minute. Sorry. For Seraphim. And this would be the southeast fountain. Fills with... Okay, now, when that happens, I have to look and see what this activates throughout the chamber. While I'm doing this, talk amongst yourselves while you're in the room. You have Karsu that is telling of a story or saying some kind of memorized words of some kind. This has worked and has happened. So go ahead and RPG for just a minute, and if you guys don't want to do any or you're done, let me know and we'll move onward from here.
Do we want to assemble the final set of gears from those pieces with...
We certainly can, but we'll be passing the large door on the way. Might as well at least take a look. Once everything calmed down, I didn't hear anything besides water. I would assume if there was anything back there behind that as a guardian or otherwise, it would have made its presence known by now.
Or maybe like Karsu said, with my people's spirits, maybe he's only stuck to that room and is waiting for us to come through it.
Did we ever actually open the stuff from the first one? Because I remember the first one you were looking for the graphics, and then
Yes. The combination of those two top ones that were picked randomly out of there together had to work to operate the main door.
oh, okay.
It took 2 levers to do that. That's why the first time when you heard all that noise and stuff, I was worried you guys were going to get discouraged as a group. But it was the first half of activating that central door. The second one picked up on the other side, and both of them together was able to lift it up. Now you've got this third one that's had this interaction. And as this does, you hear... let me describe to you the sound that you hear, and then I have to go over and do a graphic. You hear the water rush again. That same excitement kind of fills you all as it's coming quicker now. It's becoming easier. You're starting to understand. It's almost like you're meant to be here. Like the Atlatis have shown you the path, and the Makatis and the Mori'tal want this to happen, right? And as she is sitting there and she is saying these words and looking out over the Terrachua image, you hear stone sliding audibly from the same direction that the main central door came from, that central chamber somewhere, echoing through the hallway, from out that hallway to the north of this room. Okay? And this isn't the same kind of chain-pulled device thing. This seems to be much smaller, but it does sound like stone being drug against stone. Okay? I just need to look here real quick and make sure I'm doing this right. It is going to be in room number... Just 1 second, guys. I want to check something here. This is interesting. Just a minute. And this is going to be the one that is... Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. This fountain drains. Okay. And as you look down into it, as you are extraordinarily, well, 50-50 shot. Yeah. So that's what you hear. A little bit of spoilers there, but we had to do it. So, as that happens, what's everybody doing? Any more conversation to be had in this room?
So I think Brahmas is kind of his plan apparent.
What's that,
David?
Brahmas?
So I don't think Brahmas has anything else to say. He's kind of made his plan apparent.
Well, let's go see what's in the... Let's go see what the little door... What little opened and what big opened.
It's well put. That would be another good name of this episode. But we've already got some good ones.
Little and big opening.
Yeah, yeah. Not quite that way of putting it, but close, Danny. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay, so with that, the group is headed towards the central room. Okay, let me go ahead and take the cluster of the gang and just move them.
I think Silouan is definitely hovering around Karsu, making sure that her emotion is still chill. I know, like, her learning about all that stuff could be overwhelming, so she's making sure to have a temperature check on her.
Okay, that's really considerate. Now, let's go ahead and RP through that just for a little bit instead of just saying it. What do you think? So, as you do this and you guys get to leave the room, She looks up at you and kind of finishes up with what she's looked at. And let me think. There's something she would say here. I'm pretty sure. She looks up to you all. And as everyone's kind of walking off, Silliman's kind of like the last link, kind of left behind, waiting to see what she's up to. And she looks up at Silliman. And she walks up to her and she takes her hand and she looks at you and she takes your hair and she takes some of it and she kind of wrings it out. Because you're still pretty wet from earlier. And she says, "It can't be much further now. We've accomplished so much and walked in the footsteps and the shadows of such great things in here. I only pray that we are able to make it back to Ursi and Shakoma and the others and tell them of what's happened here." It's amazing.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? Bigger than before. Not so small and inconsiderate. It is nice to know that. And she stops for a minute. And she kind of looks down. And she looks back up at you with a deep breath. She goes, "It is a good feeling to know that no matter what happens to me, that this has all been for something and that it's what they wanted. This was our passage. This was the future here. And we're unlocking it together." And she kind of catches herself getting a little bit long-winded. And she says, "I am as I should be. Proud."
Yeah. And I'm glad you're here, kid. And I think she like offers out her hand to kind of like hold as they're walking.
She looks at you and she smiles. And she doesn't really smile all that much like this kind of smile is. And as she does that, she grips your hand tight and it takes you startlingly for a moment. She goes, "I am glad you are here too. This is where you should be. This is where you're supposed to be."
When she says kid, Bast actually turns around and he goes, "You know, my race would consider me a child."
We all act like children sometimes.
Nice, Giltusk. Nice. As that happens, you guys work your way back into the next room. If there's more to be said, please do. If not, I'm just going to move into the next room.
Yeah, hearing how Karsu was also worried about outside, he would also make it known to the group that he is willing to do another hyper aware into Loki's eyes.
Okay.
Before we do that, let's focus on this because we've got to get through this no matter what.
So you start that and beginning that because now you feel like you've taken a little bit long and you're going to check. And Bastille, you're doing that. I want you to roll a persuasion check for me.
Nat 1.
Okay. Colby, he tells, Bastille says this to Kill Tusk. It is not extraordinarily convincing as you have your own priorities, but I'm not going to I'm not going to overstep what you want to role play in this situation.
It's almost like he's trying to
is-
convey it, but you can hear in his voice that he does want to know, but he's afraid of what he's going to find out.
Nice. I like that take on it. Good job. Good job, Danny. What do you want to do here, Colby?
I think Kiltus would go for it, and he would say to Bastille, knowing your warrior friends that are outside, and what I can consider my family now is outside, I'm pretty sure it won't be anything bad.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Do you remember the roll that we decided on last time? It was your wisdom check, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Go ahead and roll that. I have the DC ready, and I believe I know what's going to be happening. I'm going to roll this with advantage because of how well it went earlier. 1 is terrible, 20 is good. And I'm going to roll this twice, and I'll know how it's going outside. And then your roll will tell me how much of it I tell you.
I got a 24.
24 total. Really? Fucking A, you did. I like it. So go ahead and describe to everybody what that looks like, please. And then I will send you to the scene.
I think he would slowly stop walking, and his eyes will like turn into that reptilian like that Loki's are.
Okay. Okay. I've rolled twice. As the room darkens around you, you can feel the heartbeat from Bastille and Karsu, the urgency to move on. You can feel the rushing water coming down the steps just beside you. But you also have obligations. You have a bond with this creature and it to you. You two don't survive the same without one another. And as you start to drift off in that moment and everything starts to go black, all of a sudden, you feel rain upon your face. And you don't feel that blast of sunshine that you had felt previously. Okay? As this happens, the eyes, your eyes open back up and you seem to be looking up. You smell something that doesn't smell like anything. You smell like burning wood. You smell like ash and cinder. And as you look over to your side, you see a scorched piece of stone that has been toppled over. It is one of the heads of Baka, or as everyone else knows them, Gaia, the Titan god of Earth. Okay? And one of the statues has been struck with what looks like to be a large bolt of lightning and has been knocked sideways and is over to the side and is trapping the tail and the back leg of Loki down. And you can look up and see Valdera with her sword over to the side, screaming and yelling with her arms on that head, picking it up, and she seems to be abnormally muscular as she is releasing something within herself. As she's able to pick up the thing, you can feel the pain in Loki's leg and his tail. And you're able to scamper out and do that. Just as you're able to scamper free, you can see that a Vasilian Reaper was coming up from behind, getting ready to strike down Valdera in her unaware condition. But you could see it. You could see it through Loki's eyes. He was screaming in pain as a wild animal being trapped, but he also saw the encroaching danger. And being able to be free just in time. You see Loki leap forward, and you can tell he bites straight onto the face of this harvesting creature, and you just hear the noise. You can hear and feel the bones crunch in your head almost. It's like an echo, and you can hear the teeth go down, and it goes black for just a minute. It opens up again, and you look up, and Loki is looking up in the distance, and it seems that in the distance you see two sorcerers have began, and they are bringing in a thunderstorm as gray clouds and stuff are trying to block out the morning sun and make this a more habitable place for them as these large clouds are rolling in from the east. Okay? As he gives one look around, Baraxel, Shakoma, they're all there and they seem to be okay. They seem to be triumphant in what they've been doing. But a second wave is coming. And with them a storm. An unnatural storm that's been brought by Vasilian sorcerers and weavers. And with that last cry, your eyes snap open on this side of things from Loki's roar as you can hear it. It almost sounds like you actually heard it with your own ears for a minute. It almost messes with you a little bit. Okay? That is what you have seen in this vision. Okay? I rolled a 3 and I rolled an 18. It was with advantage. So I gave you a little bit of both of them and ended on the better one of the two. Pretty nice. I love this shit. I like telling stories, man. It's all good. Go ahead with what you're doing there, boss. What are you saying to the group? And then we will continue.
I think as he has snapped out of it, like Kiltus will still might feel that pain in his leg, and like shake it and make sure it's just like to convince himself that it was Loki, not him.
Oh, right on.
And then he'll say to his group. Then he would say to the group, "Everyone is fine." And he recalls Bastille, and he pauses for a second because he recalls Bastille asking the last time if Valdera had like a darkness or something like that. And
Look, yeah.
Did he see it this time?
You saw that she was doing something that was unnatural, that was making her stronger, but you did not see... I'll just double check. No. You did not see any kind of darkness about her, but you saw some kind of like uncanny might from her that you've not seen in people typically. Like she literally looked like her physical characteristics were getting stronger through something that she was channeling through herself. Okay, I don't know how else to describe it other than that.
All right. And then he would turn to Bastille saying, there was some sort of unnatural happening to Valdera, but
that's fair.
Yep. She was saving Loki, and Loki paid it back right after.
Bast, what's your response, buddy?
As long as she's still calculating, and she still appears to have allies, it's all good.
Okay.
But you can tell just the fact that knowing she's pressed like that's starting to worry him.
Okay.
Just going by his last deception roll, he's not going to become, or he's not going to pop into being super calm faced.
Right. I get that.
And then Kiltus would finish off saying to everybody else that there's an unnatural storm coming with another wave. And it's strong enough to knock down the Baka's heads outside the temple.
You guys know, as you guys fucked around with quite a few of them, trying to get those items out of them and stuff like that. Danny, it also would occur to you what the storm means for the Visillion.
I hope they bring a bunch of lightning.
Okay. Hello, kiddo. Look at that cat all wrapped up in a blanket. Look at that. So, it's not 10 o'clock yet, guys. Do you guys want to push on a little bit more? Or is this a good ending place? What do you guys want to do? I just want to make sure I'm being considerate, everybody, because I got like a dentist appointment in the morning, but it's a consultation. I got shit to do tomorrow. So I want to be considerate of you all. Do you want to go a little bit further?
Absolutely.
Okay, Danny says absolutely. I'm seeing head nods from everyone else, but I got an absolutely from Danny. So can I get an absolutely from Jeremy?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, Belly, you good for a little bit? She's like, just fucking yeah. Okay.
It's a holiday
Colby.
tomorrow.
I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, she's like, she's going on. Danny's daughter's going to jump in and play. Yes. Colby, you're good?
Yep.
All right, let's rock and roll. Let's continue on a little bit. Okay, so I tell you what, I need to take a bathroom break because beer does things to people. Let's do that. Let's take a quick one because you don't want me sitting here going like, and you go, and we gotta walk. Okay, yeah, we need to let things happen naturally. Let me pause my recording. Get over here on this one. My wife is laughing her ass off at me right now.
Just wondering if he's going to edit out the P dance or if he's going to keep it.
Right. All right. We're going to pause this in 3, 2, 1. See you in a few. And we're back. That's right. It was a good break for
Everybody but
everybody.
Bella went completely stern face when you said one. Bella's just like, nope, can't do it.
She is a very good advantageous.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about anything.
It's good shit, man. It's good stuff. Anyway, let's get serious. After all that fun stuff. And
Bast,
go ahead.
Bast
Please.
upon hearing that's like, okay, yeah, we got to get our heads back in the game. Let's get on this.
Okay. I'm trying, buddy. That was a lot of traumatizing humor there. Anyway, so you guys have entered into this room. Now that you know that you've heard sliding stone come from this room, and you also, Brahmas has said that large central door, in so less words, has risen. Okay. So at this point, until everyone kind of walks up this set of stairways and goes up a little bit, I'm not going to reveal what's on this higher level.
Let's do that then.
So if that's what you're wanting, is that what you're wanting to do? Okay. As you go through here, and I want you to kind of ignore, I apologize, this is number 1 and number 2. Let me go ahead and dim those down. Let me see, that's number 1, number 2. Oh no, they were examining the rubble where this had fallen. I didn't have the graphic to show the fallen broken bridge, because who the fuck could have saw that coming, right? So, so they were examining that, but they have vanished from that area. Let's go ahead and do this. Number 2. And I would like for Bella to roll me a 1d20. 20 is great, 1 is bad.
17.
17. Kill Tusk, I'm going to do you a solid here. Okay? You have been playing the role of the kind of the watchdog and going over top of these things. Going over these things very carefully throughout here. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here. Roll a perception check with advantage for me, as you've been watching out to see how these spirits enact. You have the undead, this angelic and demonic Panacho on. You are clued in. What is your roll?
26.
That's awesome. You guys have had some great fucking rolls tonight, dude. You look around, and although you're a little bit unnerved because you don't see those Atlati warriors looking over that rubble anymore, but you don't see any spirits in this middle room that you would imagine that you would have to contend with. At least nothing stands out to you with a what you feel is a pretty solid roll and look over the room. The rest of you would notice him doing this, as Kiltusk is starting to step into that position. He is an Atlati warrior inside of a place where that kind of person is needed. As that happens, Rursi, or Karsu, would walk up past you, Kiltusk, as you're doing this, and you would feel a hand on your shoulder that would kind of snap out of it. And she looks over to you close as her white eyes dim back down, showing her true eyes. I'll be brief in this moment, but I think it's necessary. And I haven't talked about this much until now. You and Karsu, she's only a little bit younger than you are. And when all this happened, Colby, when all this destruction happened, and you guys have just heard the myths of the Terrachua, and you saw the Vizillion run your people away from these lands, you saw the Makati ran out by the Volatan. You saw the other race of people that decided that instead of believing in Baka and believing in what the Atlati warriors could do against gigantic monsters, you saw them take a shortcut that almost destroyed everything and everybody you loved. And you and Karsu are survivors. And you've always had too much respect for her to be outright attracted to her. You understand? But I'll be honest. In her demeanor, and in the fact that she's of a certain age where she's close to yours, and you guys being some of the last ones of this tribe and things, it has been hard for you at times to keep your composure. She is a very, very beautiful woman. She truly is. And her devotion to making sure that all this happens shows a strength in her that your kind of people, men, Atlati warriors, people that are trying to prove themselves, you know, in ancient material type ways, you cannot help but be fond of her, and you do often fight the urge to act upon that between the two of you. You have had actually Rursi, the cleric, come up to you before and asked you why you've not spoke out and said something. You know, as kind of like that motherly, kind of a little bit older than the rest of you, has kind of noticed this. But as being as hard and determined as you are, and knowing that you have a role to play, you have never let that emotion overcome you. But this look she gives you just now, when she puts her hand on your shoulder, you get that chill. You get that little weird energy that you weren't expected to handle in this moment. And when she looks at you, she smiles and she says softly, she goes, "We're guaranteeing the future of our kind." She goes, "Thank you." She goes, "I mean this. No matter what happens to me or whatever happens in here, be the strong Atlati warrior I've seen you become, and make sure these people get out of here. We have to." And when she says that, you've been up at night sometimes, thinking about the ways in which you could be the hero that stops whatever kind of end will come to her, right? You know the stories, you know the legends. You've heard bits and pieces of whispers of the sacrifice that she may have to make sure that this place awakens again. You know, as far as what Rursi has told you and what Shakoma has told you, you have pieced together this much. Roll me an insight check. I know y'all didn't see this shit coming, but I've been playing it for a while.
Natural 20.
Natural fucking 20. Give yourself inspiration, please. You have overheard and collected over a while that you know that in the moment when this happens, that the Atlatis' whole structure is based on something that no one would really think about as hunters and gatherers and monster slayers and people to keep the balance and prove that the gods are good, that nothing would be thrown in front of you that you couldn't handle as long as you believed in the system. At the end of the day, you know and you believe that Karsu believes that she needs to be a vessel for Yaota to be able to enter back in here to awaken this place and to purge evil from the lands. And although that is exactly what you all need at this particular time, and the warrior side of you knows that, Killtusk doesn't want to see her go. You don't know for sure if that's the case, but you have pieced that much together through the things you've seen her talk about, the things she's prepared herself for, how she talks very vaguely about the future, how she believes that she's an ancestor of Yota. That is what you have come to believe. Now, whether it's true or not, you don't know, because no one talks about it. Because the brave acts of your people aren't something that are up for discussion. They are simply something that is done, which is a very commendable aspect of the Atlati, of true Tenocians. They realize there is a bigger picture. And in that moment, when she tells you this, all that comes rushing back, Kiltusk. I'll give you a chance to respond if you choose to, or if you want to remain wordless. That is perfectly fine, but the stage is yours. What are you doing?
I think Kiltus would say to her, like might even like, I don't know, he would like slightly hesitate to like put his hand on her shoulder, but he will do it and say, I believe in the myths and everything that is told about our people and what it needs to be done. But and like he'll take that breath.
Okay.
But I may be a warrior, but I'm also a regular being, of flesh and bone, and seeing another one of my people possibly being gone.
As soon as you go to say the word gone, she takes her hand and she puts it over top of your mouth. And she looks at you. And she says, we are never gone. If we are start to become selfish about our feelings, we would have never been Kiltusk. Remember me. And she turns her shoulder and she walks up the stairways to the left. What are you guys doing? You guys heard this discussed under kind of like hushed words to the distance. But if you chimed in on it, you could have overheard that. She walks away as Kiltusk is left standing there in the kind of state you could imagine he would be left standing there. So, Kiltusk, with that, I won't put you on the spot anymore, Colby, okay? But you did deserve that. You did need to have that, and that's something I've been wanting to do for a little bit. What is the rest of the group doing as you saw this unfold, but you kind of saw it out of the corner of your eyes? If you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying. Does anyone have anything to do in this moment before I move it forward?
He looks at Brahmas and he goes, if we get the Seraphim awake, we don't need the rest of this temple. There's a living Seraphim. It'll turn in the battle on its own. Imagine what you could do if you had full control.
That's interesting, yeah. What do you say, Brahms?
Let's just hope Seraphim can be repaired enough to be of service.
Okay. Okay. Silhouette, anything in that moment? I'm just curious. Be honest, is Silhouette surprised by this, or did you kind of see this coming, or what is her reaction to this? I'm curious.
About kind of that concept of her having to make the sacrifice.
That and her a deeper relationship on some kind of level with Kiltusk than you would have imagined. There's a couple different dimensions to it, right? So I'm curious as to what your take is on all this.
I think probably she would have picked up on some of it, I guess.
Yeah.
More so on kind of her. Did we hear when she said like "remember me"?
Roll perception check, DC 15. Y'all can do that. Tell me what you get. You get 15 or higher, you heard it.
At 20.
Fucking Silouan's in on her case, dude. Matlock. Go ahead, Danny. What'd you get?
Teeth.
You got it? Promise.
It was wrong perception.
I was like, that's really dramatic. I was like, God, I really want to know what you rolled. He's like,
I had it muted. You said it was
okay.
perception.
I did, yeah. He's like, can I trust you? Can I trust you with this roll? That's what it looked like. What did you get? Okay. You all did hear her say that. And the reason why I give you this opportunity, Bella, because I know you like to role play, but also you have taken an interest in her, and you have had conversations about this back and forth, and she has never so abruptly, if you want to call it that, addressed the elephant in the room here. And now you're realizing that maybe Killtusk knew all along too. And there's something to this, you know? So that's why I wanted to give you this chance to interact. Now, if you have nothing to say, like we said, that's also good RPG. I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that the amount of conversations that they've had back and forth about her having this purpose, purpose, and she is very kind of like self-sacrificial, just based on all the conversation they've had. It's nothing new, but the intensity in the statement sort of sticks with her. And he said that she was sort of running ahead a little bit after her, right? Running ahead.
Well, she wasn't running, but she was walking proudly up these steps. I'm sorry, let me bring it into view. Sometimes I forget that my map and yours is a little different. She is walking up this direction now, going toward through where the large central door once stood.
So I don't think she'll say anything really. I think it may just be in the back of her head planning of like there has to be another way besides that, and trying to begin to think of anything.
Awesome.
And then maybe a little bit peeved at Killtusk for seeing that he may have known about this regardless.
Like the Emperor said, use your anger. It's good, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Very good. Okay, Killtusk, like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there's something in that moment you want to say to the group or anything as you turn and you can see them all kind of, I do want to just take control for a second and say that they're all either trying to avert themselves from you or they are looking at you because of what just happened. So, like for instance, Bastille, Killtusk turns around from that conversation to face the group. What is your just quick thing? What are you doing?
It's just steps past like he hasn't heard, you know, to give him his moment. He steps slowly, so like if he wanted to catch him, he could, but you know, to give him.
Okay. And is it safe to say that Silouan gives him that look of it's not contempt, but it's a look at almost like it could be beneath the surface because now you're understanding everything he knew. Maybe because I think that's what you're kind of saying. Brahmas, I know you're not grinning or winking at I or anything, but what is the body language of the Seraphim in this moment? Is he just silent and still in the dead of the night?
More or less at this point.
Right, I had a little bit of poison.
They're you know, the dangers are far from over in this place.
Yeah.
And he's trying not to let it sway him.
As Bast steps by, he'll put a hand on his shoulder and then keep walking.
Okay. Brahmas, roll me a perception check with disadvantage. Tell me what you got. Very, very good. Just for my sake and your own, as you look once again over the room and you look over to that large Seraphim statue that you have mentioned several different times that you do investigate when you go into this room, you do notice a shine of the eyes of a skull with diamonds on a pedestal that was not there before. With that, you believe you've found the culprit of the last set of gears that you have put into the 4 Seraphim Sentinels in the other room. Okay? Now, if you choose to use that information or not right now, that's fine. And it is there. But that is what it is. Okay? I think that is fair. With that, Bastille is walking up after her and walks past Kill Tusk and puts a hand on his shoulder. We'll go just a little bit further and then we'll see what goes on. So, is everyone moving into this area now, or is there anything else you would like to check first? Okay. So here it is. Oh my. This is an important one. Just 1 second, guys. I love it. I love it.
Percy went first, so DM has to read for the NPCs.
I will if you'd like me to. I mean, I wrote it. I mean, shit. Thank you for giving me the honor. Just 1 minute. Look at you being
Nose
awesome.
goes.
What's that?
Nose goes.
Here we go. Let's do this.
Jeremy's like, I'm not doing it, you bunch of nerds.
We're opening that up now so you guys can watch.
Pretty fantastic floor.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome.
Good job, Brad.
It's T19. Just a minute. Okay. Let's go here to this. T19. Okay. I get to read one. Pretty cool. As you cross under a pair of stone archways, a massive marble-floored room comes into view. Waterways running along the outer edge of the surrounding walls waterways run along the outer edge of the surrounding walls as the sound of waves and rushing water begin to grow louder in the distance. Just as you peer into the far reaches of the chamber, you catch a glimpse of what could very well be the purpose of your journey. Suddenly the water collects and rises up, blocking your field of vision. As the image before you takes shape, the distinct features of a face begin to form within the swirling currents. It seems that the ancient Atlati, have yet another trick up their sleeves. And I'll give you a glimpse of what we're talking about. As you looked up in the distance, Brahmas, this is what you see. You see what looks like 2 large ivory and bone sculptures of Quetzalcoatls. Quetzalcoatl, wherever they call them, to the left and right on a pillar. A large image of the Tenocia. 4 ivory and bone Atlati totems surround what looks like to be a docile and dormant Seraphim that could easily be a clone of you in the middle of the platform. Lifeless. Okay? But then, as it said in the description, as you were looking up, across the room, in that direction, the water rose up to block your path. And this is what you see.
No problem. So we should just be planning on,
a gigantic water elemental forms right in front of the podium.
It is. It's straight bleach. Just in a
It has somewhat humanoid-like features of a large open mouth, as an audible yells as if thousands of spirits are within it, just kind of swirling. And as you see a distinct arm come up and crash and smack the water to one side, and it reaches up and comes another wave and crashes against, and the water sprays upon you guys as you're standing on the marbled floors just to the south of it. And with that, we will end for tonight. And we will take this up the next time we play. Sound good to everybody?
I say we kick this thing's ass.
Yeah. Sure.
Promise you handle that. I'm gonna grab these medallions, go up, see if I can fire up the other one.
Hey, it's not the only thing I can deal with spirits now.
All right, so let me go ahead and fade this back off to what it was here. It's saving real quick, just 1 second. That's great about these files. I can save this file. It's here. Come back to it. All kinds of good. Okay, did it save and make sure? Yeah, it did. All right, let me go ahead and kick back over to our nothing but wallpapers. All right. So, awesome note to end on. We know we're getting somewhere. We got another skull to pick up. We have yet one more set of gears to go in, but you guys have found a way to get lucky enough to do just the right ones at the right moments and have led the group forward. Pretty impressive. Danny, dude, fucking hats off to you for figuring out how to work at one without, I was like, dude, can he? I was like, and I think a 35, a 26, and a 24 in some good role playing means yes, you can. So it was all good. That was fun to watch that unfold. Yeah. Think about everything. Prepare yourselves for what the hell's coming on next, because dudes and dudettes, it's not easy. It's not going to be simple. That's right. I said dudettes. It's all good. With that, once again, thanks for hanging in and watching these. I don't know if you can tell or not when we do this. We have a ball doing this. Just the everyone getting together and being part of each other's story and helping create this. And I don't see us quitting anytime soon. And whatever happens in the future and whatever method we use to do this and whatever kind of mechanics and terminologies we have to use, I think it'll be only barely, maybe even slightly changed. I think who we are and the way we do this stuff is the most important thing. How we get here is not what's important. It's where we've gotten to. So before I say a bunch of dumb shit and ruin that, I'm Brian Kynes. I want to thank everyone again for joining me on this Sunday night and taking some time out to play some tabletop role playing. I appreciate y'all, and we'll hopefully see y'all next Sunday. Take care.